Chapter 184. After sending the private message, Qiu Qianwei returned to her quiet villa at the top of the mountain. She practiced her piano while waiting for the piano god to reply. Time passed quietly, and in the blink of an eye, it was the day before the concert. Qiu Qianwei was looking forward to it, but she still did not receive a reply from the piano god. She was quite depressed about this, but after thinking about it, she felt that it was reasonable. The piano god had so many fans, so he must have received a lot of private messages. With so many private messages, it was impossible to read all of them. And even if he did, he might not believe that she was Qiu Qianwei. After all, her account was newly registered, and there was no official certification. During this time, Qiu Qianwei did not forget the agreement with Wang Haoren. She asked someone to send 5 tickets to the concert to Wang Haoren. After Wang Haoren received the tickets, he immediately notified Su Muyin, Qin Yunhan, Mu Zhaozhao, and Wen Jing, and made an appointment with them to watch Qiu Qianwei's concert. The concert was held at Qingling Stadium. Qiu Qianwei's promotional poster was hanging outside the stadium. There were some statements from Qiu Qianwei herself on the poster. The general meaning was that Qiu Qianwei wanted to invite the piano god to be a special guest at the concert. She hoped that someone who knew the piano god could pass on the message. When Wang Haoren drove his family's Kiranin and brought Su Muyin and the others to the destination, he naturally saw the poster. This surprised him a little. He became popular on the Douyin platform and gained 5 million fans in a few days. He knew all of this, but he did not know that Qiu Qianwei was following him. But no matter what, this did not conflict with his original plan. In fact, it was more beneficial. There was still half an hour before the concert began. More and more people started to gather around. The main group of people who came to watch the concert were parents who were being influenced by music with their children, elegant people who had good musical skills, and also fans of Qiu Qianwei's appearance. Compared to the fans of the stars, the audience of the concert was much quieter and more peaceful. However, there were also some strange existences among these fans. They all had one thing in common, which was that they all wore paper masks. Why are these people so strange? Are they all wearing paper masks? Mu Zhaozhao mumbled as she nibbled on a popcorn cup. Silly girl, what have you been doing these days? Can't you tell? Qin Yunhan complained to her best friend. Practicing calligraphy, eating, watching dramas, and sleeping. Mu Zhaozhao was living the standard life of an otaku. You're really an antique. Don't you even watch short videos? You just have to scan your Douyin and you'll know why. Qin Yunhan said. What the hell? Is it a trend to wear paper masks recently? Mu Zhaozhao was puzzled. It's not that paper masks are popular recently, but because there's a piano Prince Charming who is very popular on Douyin recently. The piano Prince Charming always wears a paper mask when he appears. They are obviously imitating the piano Prince Charming. Su Muyin interjected. Is the piano Prince Charming handsome? Mu Zhaozhao stuffed a handful of popcorn into her mouth. You become stupid from eating popcorn. I already said that he wore a paper mask, but he didn't show his face. Who knows if he's handsome or not? Qin Yunhan looked down on her and then guessed. But in my opinion, since the so-called piano Prince Charming doesn't show his face, he must be an ugly freak. That's right. If he's really handsome, he must show his face. Su Muyin agreed with Qin Yunhan's opinion for the first time. Wen Jing was very quiet. She just smiled and expressed that she agreed with this point of view. On the side, Wang Haoren listened to their discussion and couldn't help but roll his eyes. During this period of time, he had been practicing piano at home because of the concert. He didn't have any contact with Su Muyin and the others. Other than Yang Jingwan, the others didn't know that he was the piano Prince Charming. Of course, Wang Haoren didn't specifically want to explain it. In any case, they would find out soon enough. As the 5 of them chatted, they quickly walked into the stadium and found the corresponding seats on the tickets. Qiu Qianwei was quite considerate. The 5 tickets she gave were all in the front, and they were all in a row. Wang Haoren glanced at the seats and directly sat down in the number 8 seat. The number 8 seat was right in the middle of the 5 rows of seats. Because of this, Su Muyin and Qin Yunhan, the 2 jealous kings, didn't argue. They quickly sat on either side of Wang Haoren. Mu Zhaozhao was currently very friendly towards Wang Haoran. She didn't have any romantic feelings towards him. Of course, she wouldn't fight to sit next to Wang Haoran. Wen Jing didn't have much of temper. She didn't want to cause trouble for Wang Haoran, so she quietly sat next to Wang Haoran. Beautiful sisters, what a coincidence. You're also here to watch my Seven Sisters concert. Lin Chen appeared out of nowhere and said happily to Su Mu Yin and the others. When Wang Haoran saw Lin Chen suddenly appear, he wasn't too surprised. Not counting Qiu Qianwei who didn't appear, there were already 3 female leads. With so many female leads present, how could there be no male lead? Little friend, it's you. Su Mu Yin and Mu Zhaozhao politely greeted Lin Chen, and then there was nothing else. Qin Yunhan and Wen Jing didn't say anything. Lin Chen's enthusiasm didn't decrease. Beautiful sisters, the magic show last time was purely an accident. This time, little brat, don't tell me you still want to continue the bet from last time. Your sister didn't admit her loss, Su Mu Yin interrupted him. It's not that. Lin Chen shook his head and said, in a while during the concert, I will be performing a 4-hand duet with my 7th sister. I hope you can give me a round of applause. You can play the piano too. Su Mu Yin, Mu Zhaozhao, Qin Yunhan, and Wen Jing couldn't help but look at Lin Chen curiously. Of course I can, and my standard is no worse than my 7th sister's. Lin Chen chuckled. Su Mu Yin, Mu Zhaozhao, Qin Yunhan, and Wen Jing naturally didn't believe him, and laughed it off. Seeing this, Lin Chen's smile grew wider. This 4-hand duet performance was something he shamelessly begged Qiu Qianwei to do. Even Qiu Qianwei thought that Lin Chen just learned it. And this was the effect Lin Chen wanted to create. You all think I'm bronze, but in reality, I'm king. When it's time to perform, I'll definitely shock everyone, and I'll be a real show-off. On the side, Wang Haoran saw Lin Chen's proud expression and couldn't help but secretly mock him. This was a concert, and there were close to 8,000 people in the audience, and there were 4 female leads. If Lin Chen were to become one of them, wouldn't it be a disaster? Chapter 185. As time passed, the audience who came to watch the concert arrived one after another. As far as the eye could see, there were almost no empty seats. This concert was actually just a small-scale promotion, and the promotion time was very short, but nearly 8,000 tickets were still sold. One could imagine Qiu Qianwei's influence. At 7:30 in the evening, the concert officially began. Qiu Qianwei, who was dressed up, appeared, and with just a simple appearance, she received a tsunami-like applause. Qiu Qianwei first expressed her sincere greetings to everyone, then walked to the piano on the stage and sat down gracefully. A soothing moonlight sonata as the opening started the warm atmosphere of the concert. Then, Qiu Qianwei played some world-class famous piano pieces, bringing the audience an auditory feast. When the concert was more than halfway through, the world-class performance project was completed, and it was ready to enter the personal music performance project. At the same time, Qiu Qianwei's ethereal voice also came through the microphone from the top sound system, falling into everyone's ears. Recently, the piano god on the internet. I'm sure many of you know about him. In fact, I wanted to play the music composed by that piano god, but I didn't contact him personally, so naturally, I couldn't buy the copyright of that music. It's really regrettable. If anyone knows the piano god's contact information, please remember to contact me. Qiu Qianwei's words had a hint of playfulness, but more than that, it was disappointment. Goddess, I'm the piano god. Look at me, look at me. Under the stage, a male fan wearing a paper mask shouted at the top of his voice. Qiu Qianwei's whole body trembled, and immediately a burst of joy emerged from her heart. But soon she was disappointed again, because after the male fan finished speaking, there were immediately people who started to jeer. He's not. I'm the real piano god. You're all fake. I'm the piano god. A male fan wearing a paper mask shouted at the top of his lungs. One after another, the scene became a little comical. Qiu Qianwei was affected by the atmosphere and couldn't help but laugh, but soon the smile disappeared, and a layer of worry covered her eyebrows. These people were obviously fake, and they were not the real piano god at all. That piano god standard was a level higher than his. Why would he lower himself to come to his concert? What's more, the piano god might have seen her handwriting on the poster. Maybe they looked down on him, so they didn't want to be a special guest. Thinking of this, Qiu Qianwei suddenly felt a little disappointed, but the concert still had to continue. She adjusted her mood and immediately began to play a piano piece that she had composed. A few minutes later, a piano piece was finished. The audience was still applauding, and their faces were filled with shock. Obviously, most of the audience was moved by this piece of music that he had composed. However, Qiu Qianwei didn't feel very excited. Instead, she felt ashamed. Compared to the music composed by that piano god, she was far inferior. At this moment, Qiu Qianwei's earpiece received a message from the field controller. The gist of it was that it was almost time for the lucky audience segment. The so-called lucky audience segment was to randomly select an audience member to go on stage and play a piano piece with Qiu Qianwei. The staff brought a cardboard box over. Qiu Qianwei reached into the cardboard box that was only big enough for her arm and grabbed a lot. Row 1, number 8. Qiu Qianwei opened the small piece of paper, looked at the handwriting on it, and read it out in front of everyone. For the sake of fairness, the director also deliberately moved the camera to the paper so that the audience could see the handwriting on the paper through the big screen. Isn't the first row where we are? Quickly take a look. Qin Yunhan was happy and quickly said to her companions. There was a number on the back of the seat, so it was obvious at a glance. It seems to be me. Wang Haoran said. Wow, your luck is too good. Mu Zhaozhao's baby face was full of surprise. I'm handsome, of course my luck is good. Qin Yunhan laughed. That's right, that's right. Su Muyin and Qin Yunhan were completely in agreement on this point. Wen Jing didn't say anything, but her head was like a chicken pecking rice, constantly nodding in agreement. Wang Haoran put on the paper mask that he had prepared beforehand and walked onto the stage. He didn't want to be famous, so of course he wouldn't show his face in front of the public. Although Wang Haoran was wearing a mask, the ticket was given to Wang Haoran by Qiu Qianwei. Row 1, number 8, was one of the 5 tickets that he gave out. The person in front of her was obviously not a girl, so Qiu Qianwei immediately recognized that it was Wang Haoran. You're quite lucky. Qiu Qianwei avoided the microphone and whispered. Lucky? Wang Haoran smiled, but didn't say anything. Was this luck? Of course not. This so-called lucky audience member was bought by him at a high price in order to perform in front of Qiu Qianwei. I think so too. I'll buy a lottery ticket tomorrow to try. Wang Haoran whispered back to Qiu Qianwei with a smile. After a simple conversation, Qiu Qianwei immediately started the program. This lucky friend, do you know how to play the piano? Qiu Qianwei held the microphone and said, then slightly moved the microphone to Wang Haoran, indicating that he should respond. I know a little bit. A little bit. So he's a beginner piano player. Qiu Qianwei had a preliminary judgment of Wang Haoran's level, so she asked, do you know to Alice? No. Wang Haoran shook his head. What about childhood memories? No. What about dream wedding? No. You know Knight's Piano Piece 5, right? Still no. Qiu Qianwei rubbed her temples, feeling a little dizzy. These 4 piano pieces were all entry-level. Anyone who had learned the piano before, even if they didn't know all 4, they should at least know one of them. However, Wang Haoran didn't know a single one. Qiu Qianwei could tell that Wang Haoran wasn't even a beginner piano player. He was probably trying to identify the state of the piano keys. Then you don't know a single one, right? Got it, Qiu Qianwei said. Not really. I actually know some famous songs. Which one? Qiu Qianwei was a little surprised. Other than the 4 entry-level famous songs she had just mentioned, was there anything else? Third Piano Concerto, Wang Haoran said seriously. His piano skills were achieved overnight. When practicing, he naturally couldn't learn those entry-level piano pieces. He directly picked the difficult ones to learn. He didn't learn to Alice, Dream Wedding, and other entry-level famous songs, but he really learned Third Piano Concerto. Qiu Qianwei looked at Wang Haoran in a daze. If she didn't know Wang Haoran, she would have thought that he was a lucky audience member who was here to cause trouble. Which piano school in the world would not teach entry-level piano pieces, but teach the third piano concerto, which was one of the most difficult songs on the list? This was simply impossible. Third piano concerto is too difficult. Why don't you change it? What else do you know? Qiu Qianwei didn't want to attack Wang Haoren, so she said in a tactful tone, "How about Flight of the Bumblebee?" Wang Haoren thought for a moment and replied. Qiu Qianwei sighed to herself. Flight of the Bumblebee was a piano level 9 exam piece, and it was also very difficult. However, compared to third piano concerto, it was still easier. Chapter 186. Then let's play Flight of the Bumblebee. Qiu Qianwei didn't want to waste time and was too lazy to ask. In fact, in this lucky audience segment, the level of the audience wasn't important at all. It was just for the sake of interaction. Even if the audience played out of tune, it didn't matter. It didn't affect Qiu Qianwei at all. After agreeing, Wang Haoren and Qiu Qianwei sat down on the long piano chair, one on the left and one on the right. Each of them was responsible for half of the piano keys. But Qiu Qianwei took the lead and played a short piece. After playing a short piece, Qiu Qianwei signaled Wang Haoren to officially start. Wang Haoren's hand was placed on the black and white piano keys on his side. Qiu Qianwei subconsciously wanted to cover her ears, fearing that she would be stimulated by some out-of-tune notes. But she quickly realized that she was wrong. Those black and white piano keys under Wang Haoren's fingertips danced, and a beautiful and pleasant note jumped out. The degree of intonation could be described as perfect. "It's your turn." Qiu Qianwei was stunned for a moment and missed the part of the piano that she was supposed to play. But Wang Haoren helped her play and save the scene. No one could tell that she made a mistake. And with Wang Haoren's reminder, Qiu Qianwei, who had a high level of musical literacy, quickly entered the state and played with Wang Haoren. The two had never played together before, but their piano skills were too high. It was really easy for them to play a Flight of the Bumblebee with 4 hands. A Flight of the Bumblebee was quickly performed perfectly. Under the stage, the applause was thunderous. The performance of this lucky audience was obviously beyond everyone's expectations and made everyone feel very surprised. Su Muyin, Qin Yunhan, Mu Zhaozhao, and Wen Jing were all stunned. They enthusiastically applauded and cheered for Wang Haoren. Ding! The female lead, Su Muyin's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 75, unchanging feelings. Ding! The female lead Mu Zhaozhao's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 45, very friendly. Ding! The female lead Qin Yunhan's favorability towards the host has increased by 2. Current favorability is 97, unchanging until death. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Reward: 500 villain points. It turns out that our lucky audience member already has a level 10 piano level. He really hides his skills well. Qiu Qianwei interacted with the audience and joked. Wang Haoren smiled. The song Flight of the Bumblebee was only enough to warm up his hands. Plus, it was a 4-hand combo, so it was impossible for him to display his true ability. Not bad. Let's play another one. One more. The audience cheered loudly. Among them, Qin Yunhan and Wen Jing were the most excited and shouted the loudest. Then let's play another piano concerto number 3. Qiu Qianwei already had this intention. When she heard the audience's cheers, she naturally went with the flow and said, "The song Flight of the Bumblebee made Qiu Qianwei believe in Wang Haoren's level. Therefore, Qiu Qianwei also wanted to challenge the higher difficulty. Piano Concerto number 3 inch was the most suitable. Qiu Qianwei started as usual and played a small part in front of it. Wang Haoren on the side, while waiting, directly put one hand in his pocket and raised the other hand slightly. This posture, it was obvious that he only wanted to use one hand. He had already warmed up his hands. Plus, it was a 2-person combo. With his supreme level piano skills, it was really a bit redundant to play with 2 hands. On the side, Qiu Qianwei saw Wang Haoren's actions and immediately felt that Wang Haoren was a bit arrogant. This Piano Concerto number 3 was too difficult. Even she didn't dare to play it with one hand. Cough. As Qiu Qianwei played, She coughed slightly, hinting to Wang Haoran that she wanted him to be more serious. However, Wang Haoran's movements remained unchanged. He didn't take his other hand out of his pocket at all. Soon, Qiu Qianwei finished playing a small part, and the notes reached Wang Haoran's side of the piano. Wang Haoran played with one hand and perfectly connected it. This guy is really good. Qiu Qianwei was surprised. However, it was only a small surprise, because the more difficult part had yet to come. Qiu Qianwei played her own side of the piano in peace, waiting for Wang Haoran to fail because of his carelessness. As the notes floated out one by one, the most difficult part of the piano concerto number 3 came. The part where the note that had annoyed Qiu Qianwei previously happened to be on Wang Haoran's side of the piano. When she was practicing before, this was the part where the flaw appeared. It was only after seeing the piano Prince Charming's magical fingering that this flaw was resolved. This fingering technique was very, very difficult. Even a level 10 piano player wouldn't be able to learn it. I don't believe that you can't play with one hand. Qiu Qianwei snorted in her heart. Wang Haoran glanced at Qiu Qianwei. His fingering suddenly changed, and the notes were perfectly connected to form a wonderful movement. Qiu Qianwei's eyes almost popped out, because Wang Haoran's fingering technique was exactly the same as the piano Prince Charming's. And just as Qiu Qianwei was surprised, she forgot to play her own side of the piano. A musical car accident was about to happen. However, at this critical moment, Wang Haoran immediately pulled out his other hand to remedy the situation. As the piano concerto number 3 entered the end movement, the frequency of the keys being pressed was too fast. Wang Haoran's fingers danced, and there were faint illusions. If she wanted to play this piano concerto number 3 perfectly, she could only let Wang Haoran play it alone. Qiu Qianwei couldn't intervene for a moment, and once again entered a four-handed state. If she forcefully interfered, it would only cause flaws to appear in the perfect performance of the music. With Qiu Qianwei's harsh attitude towards music, this was something she didn't want to see. Therefore, she directly retracted her hand and let Wang Haoran play alone. Taking advantage of this free time, Qiu Qianwei couldn't help but carefully look at Wang Haoran's hands that were playing the piano. His fingers were very slender, and the thickness of the knuckles were uniform. It was as if he was born to play the piano. But this hand, why does it look a little familiar? It's him. Qiu Qianwei suddenly recalled the piano Prince Charming's hand. At that time, because she was studying the piano Prince Charming's fingering, she naturally carefully looked at the piano Prince Charming's hand. The piano Prince Charming's hand and Wang Haoran's hand were almost exactly the same. Thinking of this, Qiu Qianwei moved back a bit and looked at Wang Haoran's figure. Wang Haoran was wearing a paper mask. From her point of view, it happened to be the same as the piano Prince Charming's point of view. At this time, Wang Haoran was playing alone, and his true level was also revealed. Rhythm, fingering, the connection of notes, and other points related to music, they were all at the top of the world's level. Compared to him, Qiu Qianwei felt that she was a level weaker. With a high degree of similarity in appearance and the same level of piano skills, there was definitely no second person. In an instant, the piano Prince Charming and Wang Haoran's figure directly overlapped in Qiu Qianwei's mind. Ding! The female lead Qiu Qianwei's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 50 admiration. Ding! The host has affected the direction of the plot. Gained 1,000 villain points. Lin Shen's protagonist aura -50. The host's villain aura +50. Chapter 187. As soon as the last note of Piano Concerto number 3 fell, Wang Haoran received a system notification. This made him slightly surprised. The female lead's favorability had increased from 40 to 50. He had received the reward of a qualitative change several times before. However, the reward he received from Qiu Qianwei was much more than any of the previous female leads. It was an increase of 1,000 villain points and 50 aura points. Was it because Qiu Qianwei's female lead aura was high? Wang Haoran secretly guessed. Below the stage, the applause was like a tide. Qiu Qianwei stared blankly at Wang Haoran's eyes under the paper mask. There was a gentleness in her eyes that had not been there before. However, in this gentleness, there was a trace of resentment. Piano Prince Charming is you. I had a hard time looking for you. Xiao Qianwei avoided the microphone and quietly complained to Wang Haoran. I only knew you were looking for me after I came here and saw the poster outside. Wang Haoran replied in a low voice. He didn't think that he would become popular on a short video and be crowned with the title of Piano Prince Charming. Moreover, Xiao Qianwei had a hard time looking for him. When Xiao Qianwei heard Wang Haoran's explanation, the little resentment in her heart immediately disappeared. Piano Prince Charming. This lucky audience is the Piano Prince Charming. Xiao Qianwei discovered that some of the audience with high musical literacy below the stage were also shocked and shouted loudly. Wang Haoran's final solo piano concerto No. 3 was also vividly displayed. With such superb performance skills, other than the Piano Prince Charming, who else could it be? With the reminder of the people below the stage, the others also quickly woke up. Everyone only thought that this was a surprise program specially arranged for the concert. This so-called lucky audience was actually arranged by the program team. Otherwise, why would it be so coincidental to draw the Piano Prince Charming? With the identity of the Piano Prince Charming revealed, the atmosphere of the concert suddenly reached a peak. Seeing this, Xiao Qianwei took the opportunity to speak to the microphone with a smile. Is everyone satisfied with the special guest I invited? Satisfied? Satisfied? Sounds of agreement could be heard from below the stage. Seeing this, Xiao Qianwei's eyes revealed a cunning look. She said to Wang Haoran, everyone is so enthusiastic. If our Piano Prince Charming doesn't perform well, it seems that everyone won't let you off the stage. With just this one sentence, Wang Haoran was directly put on the stage. If he refused, he would definitely ruin Xiao Qianwei's show. However, this was exactly what Wang Haoran wanted. A new piece of music for everyone. I hope you like it. After a simple sentence, Wang Haoran did not waste any time. Since the stage was already set up, it was time to perform. When Xiao Qianwei heard this, her eyes were filled with anticipation. The voices of the people below the stage also stopped. The prelude to a piece of music sounded. A satisfied smile appeared on Xiao Qianwei's face. As she expected, this was the piano piece that she wanted to buy the full copyright of. That short video was recorded with a mobile phone. Although the sound was clear, it was far from being able to compare to listening to it directly. Xiao Qianwei half closed her eyes and savored it carefully. Soon, she was intoxicated. The rhythm of the notes of this piece of music was progressive. Every note could easily arouse the emotions of the listener. The melody easily stirred up one's emotions, allowing one to be immersed in the melody and feel the mood of the composer. This was the highest level of music. The prelude of the music gave the listener a feeling of longing and anticipation. The initial stage was gentle and sweet. The middle stage was filled with panic, loss, and grief, and the later stage was filled with madness and collapse. Finally, everything returned to calm, and the melody became gentle and tranquil. When the last note of this piece fell, Xiao Qianwei and the audience could not calm down for a long time. Everyone even forgot to applaud. What is the name of this piece of music? After a long time, Xiao Qianwei stared into Wang Haoran's eyes and asked, Shang, Shang, what a perfect name. Xiao Qianwei savored it carefully and could not help but nod. From the longing at first meeting to the sweetness of being together, and then because of the betrayal of the loved one, it caused people to have all kinds of negative emotions and be on the verge of collapse. After the torment of all kinds of negative emotions, they finally saw through it and everything returned to normal. The emotions brought by the song Death were as if they had experienced a love experience. Thinking of this, Xiao Qianwei looked at Wang Haoran with heartache. He was so outstanding. Which heartless woman dared to hurt him like this? Ding! The female lead Xiao Qianwei's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 60. Admiration. Ding! The host has influenced the direction of the plot. Gained 400 villain points. Lin Shen's protagonist aura -20. The host's villain aura +20. Wang Haoran did not know what Qiu Qianwei was thinking. If he knew, he would not know whether to laugh or cry. The inspiration for the composition of Shang was not as complicated as Qiu Qianwei thought. It was that when the piano company sent the piano to the Wang Haoran's house, they trampled to death a pot of orchids that Wang Haoran had planted to cultivate his sentiments. Orchids were delicate and difficult to grow. Wang Haoran would spend some time to take care of them when he had the time. Of course, he hoped that the orchids would grow well. But before the orchids could fully grow, they were trampled to death. Happy to be in a good mood. But no matter what, it was just a pot of orchids. After the depression, he naturally got over it. Coincidentally, he was creating a piece of music at the time. So he used the emotional changes of the orchids that he had painstakingly planted to death as inspiration to create this piece of music. Of course, art needed to be processed. When creating, of course, he had to exaggerate a bit. And after the artistic process, the emotions conveyed by the music were indeed very similar to the emotional experience of a failed love. Only Qiu Qianwei and the others would have such feelings. At this time, Qiu Qianwei was still looking at Wang Haoran in a daze. Wang Haoran used this time to quickly communicate with the system and send out a command. Ding! The host has successfully used charm aura on the female, lead Qiu Qianwei. The female lead Qiu Qianwei's favorability towards the host is increased by 10. Current favorability is 70, undying love. Before, charm aura could not be used on Qiu Qianwei because Wang Haoran had never shown his musical ability. So he did not meet the requirements of Qiu Qianwei's choice of boyfriend. Now that Wang Haoran's musical ability had been shown, there was no longer a situation where charm aura could not be used. Since it could be used, of course he would use it. After all, charm aura had a cooldown time of 72 hours. As the saying goes, the earlier you use it, the earlier the cooldown. Chapter 188. Clap. Qiu Qianwei broke away from the music and started clapping first. This applause was like a drop of water falling into a pot of boiling oil. In that instant, the atmosphere in the hall boiled up. The thunderous applause was like a surging tide. It was more enthusiastic than any of the previous times. Ding! Female lead Su Muyin's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 80. Undying love. Ding! Female lead Mu Zhaozhao's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 50. Admiration. Ding! Female lead Qin Yunhan's favorability toward the host has increased by 2. Current favorability is 99. Undying love. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Received 800 villain points. Of course, there was a stingy person in the audience who was stingy with their applause. This stingy person was Lin Shun. As a main character, he also had a system that made him stronger by showing off. What Lin Shun loved the most was showing off, and what he hated the most was people showing off in front of him. After a long while, the applause stopped. However, everyone still wanted more. They all wanted the piano god to play a few more songs. Wang Haoran didn't disappoint as he played some of the world-famous songs that he had been practicing for the past few days. Unknowingly, the concert was coming to an end. Wang Haoran finally got off the stage. The concert was limited in time, around 3 hours. According to the original program, Lin Shun would also go on stage and play a duet with Qiu Qianwei. However, because Wang Haoran took up a lot of time, the original program was cut down. Qiu Qianwei asked for the opinions of the audience and played 5 of her own songs. The concert also came to an end. Lin Shun didn't get to go on stage as he wished. Ding! The host has successfully stopped the main character Lin Shun from showing off. Received 700 villain points. Lin Shun's main character aura minus 35. Host's villain aura plus 35. After the concert ended, the audience left one by one. Qiu Qianwei sent a message and called Wang Haoran backstage. I'm your guest. Do I get paid? After seeing Qiu Qianwei, Wang Haoran joked. Of course, I will pay you 3 times the appearance fee of a famous pianist. Qiu Qianwei nodded and replied with a smile. I'm just joking. You don't have to pay me. If you treat me as a friend, then treat me to a meal tomorrow night. He didn't need that few million, so he changed the topic and went straight to the point. Now that Qiu Qianwei's favorable impression of him had reached 70, if he didn't trick her now, when would he? Tomorrow night, this. I'm afraid this won't do. Qiu Qianwei shook her head and refused. Wang Haoran was stunned. Her favorability was already at 70, and she actually didn't agree to go out for a meal. Was the female lead of a goddess so cold and aloof? It's like this. I have to leave early tomorrow morning to attend the Glory Art Festival abroad. I really don't have time. Qiu Qianwei also felt very regretful, so she explained it to Wang Haoran. So that's how it is. Wang Haoran suddenly understood. As expected of an international pianist, she was really busy. She had just finished this concert, and she had to go abroad to attend the art festival tomorrow. This Glory Art Festival, should it be very important to you? Wang Haoran asked in a roundabout way. Lin Shen at the side said impatiently. To be precise, it should be called the International Glory Art Festival. In the entire Yin country, only my seventh sister has been nominated. If my seventh sister's work can win first place, then she will receive the highest honor. This honor has not been won by anyone in the entire Yin country. If my seventh sister can win, then she will be the #1 pianist in the country. This has always been my seventh sister's dream. He glanced sideways at Wang Haoran. So, if you want to persuade my seventh sister not to attend the International Glory Art Festival, it is impossible. I will be back in about a week. I will treat you to a meal then. Qiu Qianwei said seriously to Wang Haoran. Seventh sister, don't bother with him. We have to get up early tomorrow to take a flight out of the country. Let's go back early. Lin Shun urged impatiently. He was a little traumatized by Wang Haoran. Back at Qingling University, he had lost his chance to show off. At the concert just now, he did not even have a chance to go on stage. Lin Shun just wanted to stay away from Wang Haoran. This time, when he went abroad with his seventh sister, he must seize the opportunity and use his musical ability to help his seventh sister win the award. When his seventh sister was happy, he would take the opportunity to make her agree to be his wife. Miss Qiu, may I know which country is the International Glory Art Festival held in? Wang Haoran asked immediately. A week's time was not too long, but it was not too short either. And the main lead Lin Chun would also be going. If the plot was allowed to happen, when Qiu Qianwei returned a week later, it would not have much to do with him. He did not want that to happen. The home of the great musician Chopin. Qiu Qianwei replied. Is that so? That's great. In my vacation plan, I plan to go to the place where a great musician like Chopin was born and absorb the atmosphere of music. Wang Haoran was pleasantly surprised. He then asked, I wonder if Miss Qiu would be willing to take me along. Of course. Qiu Qianwei agreed immediately. Lin Shen wanted to stop her, but it was too late. What time are we leaving tomorrow? Wang Haoran asked hurriedly. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock at the Blue Sky Private Airport. I'll be there on time tomorrow. Remember to bring more clothes. The weather there may be colder than here. Qiu Qianwei said with concern. Thank you for the reminder, Miss Qiu. We're friends. Don't call me Miss Qiu. You can just call me Wei Wei. That's what my family calls me. Qiu Qianwei lowered her eyes shyly. Wei Wei, rest well tonight. See you tomorrow. Wang Haoran stared in her eyes. Qiu Qianwei met Wang Haoran's gaze, but quickly looked away shyly. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead. Qiu Qianwei gained 300 villain points. See you tomorrow. Qiu Qianwei pursed her lips and smiled in response. Wang Haoran left the backstage and returned to Qin Yunhan, Su Muyin, Mu Zhaozhao, and Wen Jing. The five of them got in the car. Wang Haoran sent Su Muyin and Wen Jing home. Then he prepared to send Mu Zhaozhao home. Sister Yunhan, I don't want to go home tonight. I want to sleep at your house. On the way, Mu Zhaozhao suddenly said while holding Qin Yunhan's arm, I don't want to sleep with you. Go back to your own house. Qin Yunhan said with disdain. She still planned to have a candlelight talk with Wang Haoran. She didn't want Mu Zhaozhao to cause trouble. Chapter 189. Sister Yunhan, you don't love me anymore. How dare you despise me? Sob, sob, sob. Mu Zhaozhao started to cry. All right. I'm scared of you. Qin Yunhan couldn't bear to see her like this, so she agreed helplessly. Sister Yunhan, you're so nice. Mu Zhao Zhao immediately stopped crying, grabbed a handful of popcorn, and put it in her mouth with a smile on her face. Qin Yunhan saw that she had been tricked by the Japanese and couldn't help but roll her eyes. Wang Haoran sent the two back to the Qin family mansion and was about to go back. It's already so late. Why don't you stay here as well? Qin Yunhan suddenly said to Wang Haoran. That's not a good idea. Wang Haoran was shocked. This Qin Yunhan was too bold, wasn't she? I have a lot of empty rooms in my house. There's plenty of space. There's nothing bad about it. Then I'm sorry to disturb you. Wang Haoran helplessly agreed. Late at night, Wang Haoran was sleeping alone in a room in the Qin family mansion. There was a light knock on the door. He didn't turn on the lights and got up to open the door. Then, he hugged the person who opened the door. However, he soon realized that something was wrong. This was because this was a woman that he couldn't even hold with one hand. It couldn't be Qin Yunhan. Stinky pervert, you let go of me. Mu Zhao Zhao's angry voice came. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Wang Haoran was shocked and quickly took a step back. It's okay. I know you're treating me as Sister Yunhan, Mu Zhao Zhao said. What do you mean? Wang Haoran was shocked. You're dating Sister Yunhan. Why do you think so? Wang Haoran pretended to be calm and asked. Sister Yunhan used to wear B clothes, but now she's wearing C clothes. Even if she eats a papaya a day, her figure can't grow so fast in such a short time. So, I'm sure she has a boyfriend. Mu Zhao Zhao analyzed clearly and logically. When Wang Haoran first heard this, he felt that her analysis was too far-fetched. However, after thinking about it, he felt that Mu Zhao Zhao's analysis was not wrong. However, it had to be said that Mu Zhao Zhao's way of thinking was really different from others. Even if she has a boyfriend, it might not be me. Wang Haoran continued to quibble. Sister Yunhan's standards are so high. How could she possibly take a fancy to an ordinary boy? Looking at the people around her, you're the only one who might meet Sister Yunhan's requirements, Mu Zhao Zhao said. You're really smart. Wang Haoran silently agreed. After hiding it for so long, Mu Zhao Zhao still found out. It seemed that there was no hope for him to be with Mu Zhao Zhao. But don't worry, I'll keep the matter just now a secret. I definitely won't tell Sister Yunhan. Mu Zhao Zhao said solemnly. Wang Haoran's eyes lit up. Also, the way you played the piano today was really cool. That's it. I'm going back to rest. Good night. Mu Zhao Zhao hurriedly finished these words and tiptoed back to Qin Yunhan's room. Wang Haoran was a little stunned, but he soon came to a realization. Today, Mu Zhao Zhao's favorability level had directly jumped from 40 to 50, which was also at the level of adoration. Moreover, the system did not notify him that Mu Zhao Zhao's favorability level had decreased. It seemed that the matter with Qin Yunhan did not affect Mu Zhao Zhao's adoration. Moreover, Mu Zhao Zhao's actions and words were very good proof of this. Wang Haoran returned to his room with peace of mind. He played with his phone and waited for someone to knock on the door. However, after waiting for an hour, he received a message from Qin Yunhan. The gist of the message was that she was being pestered by Mu Zhao Zhao and could not leave. She wanted Wang Haoran to rest early. Wang Haoran was a little depressed. Mu Zhao Zhao looked simple on the surface, but she was really a little scheming on the inside. She obviously did it on purpose. However, Wang Haoran could not do anything to Mu Zhao Zhao for the time being. After calming himself down, he quickly fell asleep. The next day, at 6 a.m., Wang Haoran returned to the Wang family villa, took some clothes, found his passport and ID card, and then put these things in his luggage. After a simple breakfast, he arrived at Blue Sky Private Airport on time. A private jet was parked at the airport, waiting to depart. This time, there were Wang Haoran, Qiu Qianwei, Lin Chun, Qiu Qianwei's female disciple, and Qiu Qianwei's two female assistants. The female disciple looked to be 18 years old. This time, she was going with them to see the world. As for the two female assistants, they were tall and strong. One look, and one could tell that they were very strong. When Qiu Qianwei went out, these two female assistants were a must. As a genius pianist, the importance of Qiu Qianwei's fingers was no less important than her life. Her hands needed to be in the best condition, and she had to bring some luggage and other things when she went out. She could not carry heavy things, so she could only let the assistants do it for her. After everyone had arrived, the plane took off and flew towards Chopin's hometown. On the plane, Qiu Qianwei's female disciple was called Cui Xiao. Like Wang Haoren, she was also a fresh graduate, but she was a music student majoring in piano. Her looks, and figure averaged around 85, and she could definitely be considered beauty. Cui Xiao's personality was very lively and cheerful. Wang Haoren's charm value of 568 was too attractive to most girls. Moreover, Cui Xiao was about the same age as him. Hence, when Cui Xiao saw Wang Haoren, she fell in love at first sight. After boarding the plane, Cui Xiao took the initiative to get to know Wang Haoren and pestered him to chat about all sorts of things. But Wang Haoren's standards were very high. Only those with an average score of 90 and above could catch his eye. Although Cui Xiao was pretty, but she was at most a class belle, Wang Haoren was not interested. After chatting with Cui Xiao for a while, he leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes to sleep. Cui Xiao's face suddenly looked miserable. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the Fire Country when the plane arrived at its destination. At the destination, the officials of the International Glory Festival had already sent a car to wait for them. When Qiu Qianwei and the others arrived, they were immediately sent to a 5-star hotel by the car. The hotel staff helped to carry the guests' luggage and led Qiu Qianwei and the others to their respective rooms. Wang Haoren stayed in his room for a while when Cui Xiao came looking for him. "It's not easy to come here. Why don't we go out for a walk?" Cui Xiao invited. "I've been on the plane for too long, and my head is feeling a little dizzy. I don't feel like going." Wang Haoren rubbed his temples, pretending to be dizzy. "Are you all right? Do you need me to get you some medicine?" Cui Xiao asked with concern. "There's no need to trouble yourself." Wang Haoren shook his head. "Then I'll give you a head massage. It will help alleviate the symptoms. The more you massage, the more dizzy I feel." "Forget it. I want to have a good rest." "All right then. Have a good rest. If you feel unwell and need any help, you can give me a call," Cui Xiao said warmly before she left. Wang Haoren heaved a long sigh of relief. Too much charm is also a kind of trouble. The hotel Wang Haoren was staying in was very high up, and when he opened the windows, he could see the scenery of a foreign country. He leaned against the window, his earphones in his ears, his eyes looking at the scenery outside. Not long after, the sound of a piano came from the earphones. Wang Haoren listened to the movements on Qiu Qianwei's side. The piano sound was very beautiful, and it was obviously played by Qiu Qianwei. She was really hardworking. They had just gotten off the plane, and she had immediately gone to practice the piano. Chapter 190. In the piano room of the hotel, Qiu Qianwei was focused on practicing the piano, playing the same piano piece back and forth. This piano piece was the piece she would use to participate in the art festival. When it came to the art festival, she needed to play it herself. For the International Glory Art Festival, Qiu Qianwei prepared for half a year. Half a year ago, she already had the first draft of this piano piece. She kept deleting and changing it until now. The piano piece was almost perfect. However, when Qiu Qianwei played the piano piece, she still felt that something was missing. "Seventh sister, why are you working so hard?" Just as Qiu Qianwei was thinking, Lin Chun suddenly came to the piano room. "I have to work hard," Qiu Qianwei said sadly. "Seventh sister, don't worry. In this International Glory Art Festival, you will definitely get the music category's Supreme Gold Award." Lin Chun encouraged. "My opponents are all musical geniuses from different countries. They are definitely not worse than me." "That's easy. I will think of a way to make it so that those contestants can't come to the art festival. That way, Seventh Sister can get the Supreme Gold Award, right?" Lin Chun laughed. "Shut up, don't talk nonsense." Qiu Qianwei lost her usual elegance and sternly warned. Although she really wanted to get the Supreme Gold Award, she only wanted to get it with her own ability and not rely on those crooked methods. What Lin Chun said was a complete blasphemy to art. He didn't respect art or her. Of course, Qiu Qianwei was angry. "Seventh sister, I was just joking." Lin Chun shrunk his neck in fear. You can joke, but don't joke about this kind of thing. Qiu Qianwei's expression softened a little. I know. Lin Shen smiled embarrassedly and continued. Seventh sister, play this piano piece again. Let me have a good listen. As a cheat, his piano skills were on the same level as Wang Haoren. They were both one level higher than Qiu Qianwei. As long as he listened to Qiu Qianwei play this piano piece a few times, he would definitely be able to find the problem. Qiu Qianwei originally came to practice the piano. After hearing Lin Chen's words, she immediately entered the state of practice. On the other side, Wang Haoren was also listening. After Qiu Qianwei played it a few more times, Wang Haoren and Lin Shen could tell that something was wrong. Qiu Qianwei's piano piece could not be integrated with her own feelings. To put it bluntly, it had no soul. Although it sounded illusory, a truly perfect piano performance could not be lacking in this aspect. Qiu Qianwei had actually chosen a very good theme for this piano piece. Tragic love. Throughout the history of culture, there were countless novels, articles, plays, dramas, and musical works that praised love. Love could be said to be an eternal and immortal theme in the history of human culture creation. Tragedy, on the other hand, was a common point among works with different themes. Since ancient times, almost all of the works created with elements of love in them were classics that have been passed down to this day, and almost all of them were tragedies. For example, Romeo and Juliet in foreign countries, and Liang Shanbua and Zhu Yingtai in China. These two were the best examples. Qiu Qianwei was right to use tragic love as the core theme. At the same time, she also created an almost perfect piano piece. However, she neglected a very important point. Musical works were not like literary works. After a literary work was created, it was fixed. However, if a musical work was interpreted by different people, the effect would be different. Qiu Qianwei did not have any experience of love. No matter how good her piano skills were, she could not integrate the various emotions of tragic love into it, because she had never experienced it before. In her emotional memory, there was no memory of this kind of emotional pain. Seventh sister, I think what you lack is that you can't integrate your own emotions into it. This is a piano piece with a theme of tragic love. You need to integrate your own emotions into it. Lin Shen directly pointed out the problem. When Qiu Qianwei heard this, she suddenly had a feeling of realization. However, her face quickly fell. I have no experience of love at all. How can I have any practical experience in this area? Since you don't, then just create it. Create. That's right. Lin Shen said seriously, Seventh sister, let me be your boyfriend. Think a way to fall in love with me. Then, I will ruthlessly dump you. That way, you will be able to experience this kind of emotion. Your suggestion is not bad. Qiu Qianwei's eyes lit up. However, she did not know whether to laugh or cry. But letting you be my boyfriend is too out of place. You're just an 8-year-old kid. I can't put myself into the role at all. Moreover, I already said that it is acting. I can't really put myself into it and experience a short failed love. Your idea won't work. When Lin Shen heard this, he felt that it made sense. Then let me think about it. He scratched his little head and began to think hard. On the other side, after Wang Haoren heard Lin Chen's suggestion, he almost slapped the table in praise. In order to win Qiu Qianwei's affection, he was trying his best to find a way to help Qiu Qianwei solve this problem. This little cheat's slightly ridiculous suggestion directly woke him up. It should be known that Qiu Qianwei's affection for him was currently at 70. It was at the level of affection. This seemingly ridiculous suggestion was actually very feasible. Just do it. Wang Haoren directly left the room and went to Cui Zhao's door. He knocked on the door. Hey, you're not dizzy anymore? Cui Zhao asked in surprise. I'm not dizzy anymore. Wang Haoren smiled and directly invited her. Didn't you just say that you wanted to go out for a walk? Are you still going now? Of course. Cui Zhao blurted out and immediately agreed. She hurried back to her room and quickly touched up her makeup and sprayed some perfume. Let's go. Cui Zhao excitedly followed Wang Haoren and left the hotel with him. 2 hours later, Wang Haoren and Cui Zhao came back with big and small bags. In fact, Chui Xiao wanted to walk around more, but Qiu Qianwei called a few times and said that it was time for dinner. Chui Xiao had no choice but to come back. In the hotel restaurant, Qiu Qianwei, Lin Shun, and 2 female assistants were waiting at a table. The dishes were all served, but they did not eat. Instead, they were waiting. Not long after, everyone saw Wang Haoran and Chui Xiao coming from afar. Qiu Qianwei glanced and saw that the two were holding hands and seemed to be quite intimate. When the two came closer, Chui Xiao felt shy and took the initiative to let go of her hand. Wang Haoran did not look at Qiu Qianwei's expression and just said to the others, "We just went out for a walk. I'm really sorry for making everyone wait." But as soon as he finished speaking, he received a notification from a system. Ding! The host made Qiu Qianwei jealous. Received 500 villain points. Chapter 191. Let's eat. Qiu Qianwei looked at Wang Haoran and Chui Xiao for a moment, but did not ask much, but just lowered her eyes and said with a smile. She hid her emotions well, and besides Wang Haoran, no one else noticed her strange emotions. Everyone started to eat. The table was filled with dishes from the Yin country, a mix of meat and vegetables with a variety of balanced tastes, and there was no situation where it was not to her liking. Qiu Qianwei lowered her head, elegantly taking small bites of her food, not looking at anything else. Not long after, she heard voices talking. "This poor trotter is delicious, try it." The voice was bright and sweet, and Qiu Qianwei could tell it was Chui Zhao's voice. "Thank you." Wang Haoran's voice sounded, and after a pause, he said, "It is quite delicious." Chui Xiao, "I told you." Wang Haoran, "This shredded squid is not bad either. I'll get you some, and you can try it." Chui Xiao, "Thank you. Wow, it's delicious." Clack! Qiu Qianwei's hand holding the chopsticks tightened slightly, and the chopsticks slipped out of her hand and fell to the ground with a clatter. Ding! The host has made Qiu Qianwei jealous, and the reward is 500 villain points. A female assistant immediately asked the waiter to bring a new pair of chopsticks for Qiu Qianwei. Don't talk when eating, don't talk when sleeping, just eat when eating, don't talk all the time. Qiu Qianwei could not help but say to Chui Xiao, "Yes, master." Chui Xiao nodded quickly. After Qiu Qianwei said that, Chui Xiao did not continue to talk to Wang Haoran. Qiu Qianwei breathed a sigh of relief, feeling much quieter. However, when she was picking up food, she saw Wang Haoran across the table, suddenly holding Chui Zhao's face. Immediately after, he took a piece of tissue and wiped the rice off the corner of Chui Zhao's mouth. "Thank you." Chui Zhao's face was red as she mouthed the words. Wang Haoran shook his head with a smile and reached out his hand to lightly scratch her nose. Although it was silent, but that image was too much of a blow to a certain someone. Ding! The host has made Qiu Qianwei jealous, and the reward is 800 villain points. I'm full. Enjoy your meal. Qiu Qianwei put down her chopsticks and got up from her seat. "Seventh sister, you're already full after eating so little?" Lin Chen asked. "I'm full." Qiu Qianwei turned around and left. Lin Chen furrowed his brows and looked at Qiu Qianwei's departing back. Then he glanced at Wang Haoran and Chui Xiao thoughtfully. But very quickly he shook his head. "Impossible. Seventh sister has only seen this guy for a few days. How could she be interested in him?" Seventh sister definitely didn't have any appetite. However, just to be on the safe side, he still had to take some precautions. With this thought in mind, after dinner, Lin Chen looked for Wang Haoran in private to talk to him. "Big brother, are you in a relationship with big sister Chui Xiao?" Lin Chen pretended to be harmless and asked Wang Haoran. Wang Haoran pondered for a moment before replying. "No, we're just friends. I don't like Chui Xiao. The one I like is your seventh sister." "Oh, I understand. You're purposely getting close to Chui Xiao so that you can play hard to get with my seventh sister." Lin Chen was shocked. Shoo, don't tell your seventh sister." "Don't worry, I won't. Big brother, I think you're a good person. You're a good match for my seventh sister. A handsome man and a beautiful woman. It's a match made in heaven." Lin Chen's little face was full of sincerity. Wang Haoran looked at his face and couldn't help but laugh coldly in his heart. He wouldn't believe such words unless he was an idiot. However, Although he thought so in his heart, he was still very happy on the surface. He said, "Since you think so too, why don't you help me? If I get together with your seventh sister, I'll definitely give you something good." This, Lin Shen looked like he was in a difficult position. "Can I?" "Then forget it." Wang Haoren pretended to be regretful. "Actually, it's not impossible. However, you have to promise me that if you get together with your seventh sister, you'll treat her well and won't bully her." Lin Chen quickly said, "That's for sure." Wang Haoren nodded heavily. "You know that my seventh sister wants to get the Supreme Gold Award at the International Glory Art Festival. However, there are too many competitors. My seventh sister's chances of getting the Supreme Gold Award are very slim." Lin Chen sighed and then said seriously, "If Big Brother can help my seventh sister get the Supreme Gold Award, my seventh sister will be very happy. She might even marry you." "Marry you?" Wang Haoren looked excited. "But what should I do?" "It's very simple. On the day of the International Glory Art Festival, you'll make all of my seventh sister's competitors unable to participate. Then, my seventh sister will get the Supreme Gold Award." Lin Chun said seriously. "Good idea." Wang Haoren praised him on the surface, but he was complaining in his heart. F*CKU. What kind of stupid idea is this? Let's not talk about whether this could be done or not. Even if it was done, Qiu Qianwei would still be furious. Anyone with a normal IQ would never do something like this. However, Lin Shen relied on his intelligence-reducing halo and suggested such a stupid idea. If it was a normal villain, they would definitely fall for it. However, Lin Shen did not expect Wang Haoren to have the intelligence-reducing halo. "Big Brother, if that's the case, hurry up and prepare. As long as you can do it, my seventh sister will be yours." Lin Chenegamon. "I'll do it right away." Wang Haoren fooled him and then left Lin Chen's field of vision. It seemed like he wanted to leave the hotel to do something. Through his X-ray vision, Wang Haoren saw Lin Chen's small face filled with a sly smile. Then, he swaggered back to his room. Seeing this, Wang Haoren turned back. Ding! The host did not play according to the main character Lin Chen's plan and affected the plot. Received 600 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist, Halo, -30. Host villain Halo, +30. After happily receiving the reward, he went straight to the hotel's piano room. Qiu Qianwei was practicing the piano in the piano room. However, the music was a bit messy and far below Qiu Qianwei's usual standards. Obviously, Qiu Qianwei's heart was a bit messy. Dong dong. After finishing the song, Wang Haoren immediately knocked on the door. "Come in." Hearing this, Wang Haoren walked into the piano room. "Why are you here?" Qiu Qianwei was surprised. The subtext of her words was, "Shouldn't you be with Cui Xiao? Why are you here?" "I'm here to see you." Wang Haoren walked to the piano and brushed his hand across the keys. Then, his hand landed on Qiu Qianwei's slender white hand. Qiu Qianwei paused for a moment. Then, like a frightened rabbit, she tried to retract her hand. However, Wang Haoren grabbed her hand tightly, and she could not break free. What do you mean by this?" Qiu Qianwei's long and thick eyelashes trembled slightly. She was embarrassed and shocked. Chapter 192. What do I mean? You still don't understand? Wang Haoren widened his eyes and looked at Qiu Qianwei. Qiu Qianwei met Wang Haoren's gaze. After being stared at for a few seconds, she flinched and looked away. "You should let go. If Xiao Xiao sees this, it won't be good." Qiu Qianwei's tone was a little sour. Wei Wei, there's nothing between me and Cui Xiao." Holding hands and wiping her mouth with a tissue. "You call this nothing?" Qiu Qianwei was angry. "I have no feelings for Cui Xiao. It's Cui Xiao who keeps pestering me. Seeing that she's your student, I can't treat her with a black face. That's why I pretended to be nice." Wang Haoren looked like he had been wronged. "I came to find you because I want you to think about it and tell her to stop pestering me. Is that really the case?" Qiu Qianwei's eyes lit up. Seeing the change in Qiu Qianwei's expression, Wang Haoren couldn't help but sigh. Women who fell in love were really easy to fool. She actually believed this? Of course it's like that. The person I really like is. Wang Haoren's bad business continued. "Who is it?" Chiu Qianwei asked in surprise. Wang Haoran sat down next to Chiu Qianwei. He grabbed her hand and stared into her eyes. You actually already understand, so why bother asking? I don't understand. Chiu Qianwei snorted. Since you don't understand, I'll let you understand. Wang Haoran suddenly grabbed Chiu Qianwei's shoulder and leaned forward. Chiu Qianwei widened her eyes in surprise. Ding! The female lead Chiu Qianwei's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 75, unchanging affection. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Gained 200 villain points. After dozens of breaths, Chiu Qianwei, who was a little short of oxygen, greedily took in air. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead, Chiu Qianwei. Reward: 300 villain points. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead, Chiu Qianwei. Reward: 300 villain points. Ding! The host has touched the heart of the female lead, Chiu Qianwei. Reward: 300 villain points. Do you understand now? If you don't, I can continue. Wang Haoran's gaze was aggressive. I understand. Chiu Qianwei was thin-skinned. She was afraid that someone would suddenly break into the music room, so she quickly responded. It's good that you understand. Practice your zither well. I won't disturb you, Wang Haoran said with a smile and quickly left. Chiu Qianwei was the only one left in the piano room. She was smiling foolishly, greedily recalling that sweet and heart-throbbing feeling just now. 10 minutes later, Chiu Qianwei returned to normal and began to practice seriously. Her level had also returned to normal. After practicing for about an hour, Chiu Qianwei suddenly stopped. She left the music room and knocked on Cui Xiao's door. Xiao, I want to talk to you. Seeing Cui Xiao open the door, Chiu Qianwei said, Oh, come a master. Cui Xiao nodded. Chiu Qianwei came to the stool in the room and sat down. Cui Xiao also sat down. The room was silent for a few minutes. You like Wang Haoran, right? Although it was a bit awkward, Chiu Qianwei still broke the silence first. That's right. He's so handsome and talented. Of course I like him. Cui Xiao was cheerful and lively. She didn't hide her inner thoughts and directly answered. I understand your thoughts, but have you ever thought that liking someone is a matter between two people? Some things can't be forced. Chiu Qianwei said earnestly. He's clearly very good to me. He doesn't want to hurt you. This is a white lie. Cui Xiao frowned and suddenly stopped talking. Think about it yourself. Chiu Qianwei wanted to give her some time to think, so she didn't say too much. After saying this, she left. In the next few days, Chiu Qianwei spent most of her time practicing the piano. When she had free time, she went to find Wang Haoran. The two of them chatted and had some sweet interactions from time to time. Lin Chen hid in the room and didn't come out. No one knew what he was busy with. Chiu Qianwei had to practice the piano and meet with Wang Haoran, so she didn't pay much attention to her brother. The night before the Glory Art Festival, after Chiu Qianwei finished practicing the piano piece for the last time, she stopped. She tried her best to do what she needed to do. Although her performance was still passable, at this critical moment, she couldn't change anything. She could only resign herself to fate. She wanted to go back and rest. But before resting, she still followed a small habit that she had developed these few days and sent a greeting message to Wang Haoran. What are you doing? My head is a little dizzy. I'm resting. Wang Haoran replied. What's wrong? Chiu Qianwei asked nervously. I'm probably not used to the climate here. I caught a cold. I'll go and get some medicine for you. No need. You still have to participate in the Glory Art Festival tomorrow. This is too important for you. Don't worry about me. You should go back and rest well. Get enough energy. You're not feeling well, and you still care about me? Seeing this message, the corner of Chiu Qianwei's mouth inadvertently revealed a happy and satisfied smile. She didn't reply, but she bought a box of cold medicine and prepared to send it to Wang Haoran. As a qualified girlfriend, of course, she couldn't sit by and do nothing when her boyfriend caught a cold. Holding the cold medicine, Chiu Qianwei came to Wang Haoran's door. She was about to reach out and knock on the door, but found that the door was ajar. What a careless guy, Chiu Qianwei complained in a low voice, then pushed the door and walked in. She walked in quietly put the cold medicine in a glass cup with warm water, and sent it to the bedroom. However, when she came to the bedroom door and saw the scene inside, Chiu Qianwei suddenly felt like she was struck by lightning. Bang! The glass cup fell out of the force and fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Master! Hearing the commotion, the two people under the blanket woke up. Cui Xiao didn't dare to see anyone and directly covered her head with the blanket. Why did you and Xiao Xiao? Chiu Qianwei's heart was in a mess. That's right, as you see and as you think. Wang Haoran shrugged. If you were just impulsive, apologize properly. I can pretend that nothing happened. With 70 favorability points, Chiu Qianwei's tolerance was still very high. Let's break up. If I'm not good enough, tell me. I can change. Chiu Qianwei didn't have the intention to break up. She still wanted to work hard to maintain this relationship, so she chose to endure and give in. I already said that we're breaking up, but you're still standing here shamelessly. Are you waiting for me to perform for you? Hearing these extremely overbearing words, Chiu Qianwei finally couldn't bear it anymore. Hey, you! Tears poured out from her eyes like a flood, flowing down her cheeks and down her chin. Ding! The host deeply hurt the female lead Chiu Qianwei's heart. Received 600 villain points. Ding! The host deeply hurt the female lead Chiu Qianwei's heart. Received 700 villain points. Ding! The host deeply hurt the female lead Chiu Qianwei's heart. Received 1,000 villain points. After Chiu Qianwei left, Cui Xiao came out from under the blanket. Her clothes were still intact, and she only took off her shoes. Was my acting okay? She asked Wang Haoran with uncertainty. Very professional. Will it work? We'll see tomorrow. Chapter 193. At night, Wang Haoran listened to Chiu Qianwei's movements. The sound of crying in the earpiece went on for more than half an hour without any signs of stopping. Until Lin Chun suddenly came to find her. Chiu Qianwei forced herself to stop crying. When Lin Chun noticed Sister Seven's abnormality, he quickly asked. However, Chiu Qianwei lied. She said that she was worried that she wouldn't be able to win the Glory Art Festival's Supreme Gold Award, so she couldn't help but cry. When Lin Chun heard this, he didn't continue to ask. Then he took out a piano piece that he had created in seclusion. He wanted Chiu Qianwei to perform this piano piece at the Glory Art Festival. Hearing this, Wang Haoran couldn't help but secretly shake his head. It wasn't that he didn't have similar thoughts, but this thought only appeared for a few seconds before it was dismissed by him. He also had the supreme ability to compose music, but in just a few days, it was very unlikely that he would be able to create a piece that surpassed the work that Chiu Qianwei had spent half a year polishing. Moreover, even if the inspiration was in place and he was lucky enough to create it, would Chiu Qianwei use it? Although they didn't have much contact, Wang Haoran could see that Chiu Qianwei was very dedicated to music. She only wanted to use her own ability to win the award of her dreams. Sure enough, after Chiu Qianwei heard this, she directly rejected Lin Chun's suggestion. No matter how Lin Chun tried to persuade her, Chiu Qianwei still didn't change her mind. The next day, the International Glory Art Festival officially began. Wang Haoran and the others could only learn about the Glory Art Festival through real-time reports. Because the Glory Art Festival wasn't open to the public, only people with great achievements and fame in the field of art were qualified to attend the ceremony. Big brother, did you take care of Sister Seven's opponent? Lin Chun asked Wang Haoran expectantly. There was a little problem. It just didn't work. Wang Haoran nodded. Lin Chun was very regretful. He said in a strange tone, Sigh, looks like you and Sister Seven are not fated. Hee. Wang Haoran smiled, but didn't say anything. The art festival started at 9 in the morning and came to an end at 4 in the afternoon. On the TV, the winners of the various art projects were all announced. Chiu Qianwei successfully won the gold medal of the Global Glory Art Festival's music project with her own composition, Sorrow of the Past. Under the attention of the media, Chiu Qianwei went on stage to accept the award from the ambassador and his wife. Then, she gave her acceptance speech. Her acceptance speech was very short, but at the same time, it was very thought-provoking. There were only 8 words. Thank you to the scumbag who hurt me. What's going on? Who's the one who scammed my seventh sister? Lin Chun was in disbelief. Me, Wang Haoran said. What kind of joke is this? How long has my seventh sister known you? Lin Chun curled his lips. Then, when your sister comes, you can ask her. Wang Haoran laughed mockingly. He really wanted to mess with Lin Chun's mentality. I don't believe you. Lin Chun snorted. At 5 p.m., the International Glory Art Festival came to an end. Wang Haoran and the others were waiting at the hotel to welcome Qiu Qianwei's triumphant return, but only a female assistant came back. The female assistant said that Qiu Qianwei and another assistant had boarded a private jet to return to their country. Wang Haoran sighed inwardly. Qiu Qianwei seems to have been deeply hurt. She doesn't even want to see me. There was only one private jet, and with Qiu Qianwei gone, Wang Haoran and the others had to buy plane tickets to return home. But the air tickets for the next few days were a little tight. 2 days later, Wang Haoran, Lin Chun, Cui Xiao, and the female assistant boarded the plane and set off on their return journey. And in those 2 days, the Yin country's media outlets were all dominated by the news of Qiu Qianwei winning the International Glory Art Festival's Gold Award in the music category. The International Glory Art Festival's Gold Award in the music category was the most prestigious award in the world's music industry, and it was a supreme honor. Before Qiu Qianwei, the International Glory Art Festival's Gold Award in the music category had never been won by a person from the Yin country. And because of this award, Qiu Qianwei had become one of the world's greatest pianists. In the future, her name would go down in history. At the age of 20, she had reached the pinnacle of her life. Rising to fame at a young age, her fame spread all over the world. It was not known how many media outlets wanted to interview Qiu Qianwei, but they could not reach her at all. Because of that, the public and many media outlets were speculating about the reason. Qiu Qianwei's acceptance speech in the foreign media was also dug up. Thank you to the scum who hurt me. Because of that sentence, the internet immediately stirred up a huge uproar. Fans dug up all the men who had interacted with Qiu Qianwei. In the end, everyone's eyes locked onto one person, and that was the piano god. This piano god was considered to be the man who had interacted with Qiu Qianwei the most in front of the public, and he was also the man who was most likely to be favored by Qiu Qianwei. After all, in that concert, the piano god's performance had been too dazzling. And in the recorded video of the concert, the netizens had caught Qiu Qianwei looking at the piano god many times. Qiu Qianwei's gaze was not right. That was obviously a gaze of deep affection. With this evidence, the fact that the scum was the piano god was basically confirmed. In an instant, Qiu Qianwei's fans rushed to the piano god Douyin account and used private messages, comments, and other methods to scold the piano god to no end. Many of the piano god's fans turned into haters and followed suit. The remaining loyal fans chose to believe in the piano god, so they retaliated against those haters. However, Qiu Qianwei had received the highest honor and dominated the headlines of all the major media outlets for 2 days, and she had attracted too many fans. The remaining loyal fans of the piano god could not withstand it at all. Their words of defense for the piano god were directly drowned in the tide of public opinion. Furthermore, Qiu Qianwei's vast army of fans directly pressured the Douyin platform to ban the piano god Douyin account forever. At first, the Douyin platform ignored it, but Qiu Qianwei's army of fans was too strong. The platform could not withstand the pressure and finally banned the piano god Douyin account forever. However, this was not the end of the matter. Some of Qiu Qianwei's more extreme fans raised 5 million yuan and offered a reward on the internet to buy the piano god's third leg. Chapter 194. That evening, when the plane landed, Wang Haoran returned. When he found out about the storm that had happened in the past 2 days, he was stunned. He did not care if his Douyin account was sealed forever. The reason he opened this account was purely on a whim. However, the 5 million reward for his third leg was too much, right? After hearing the news, Wang Haoran immediately asked Cui Xiao to look for Qiu Qianwei while he went to the nearest internet cafe. Qiu Qianwei's phone was turned off. Chui Xiao could only ask her friends about her whereabouts. Most of Qiu Qianwei's friends knew about her disciple. Therefore, when Chui Xiao asked, those people also told her what they knew. Everyone's replies were similar. When they heard that Qiu Qianwei had won the award, her friends wanted to call her or ask her out to celebrate with her. However, Qiu Qianwei did not meet any of her friends. It was as if she had disappeared. Chui Xiao was very anxious. She went to Qiu Qianwei's usual place to look for her. She searched from evening to midnight, from midnight to dawn, from dawn to morning. She did not rest at all. Fortunately, the heavens did not disappoint those who tried hard. When the sky was about to turn dark in the evening, Chui Xiao found Qiu Qianwei in a primary school in the clear Spirit Mountains that was funded by her. "Master, I've finally found you," Chui Xiao exclaimed. "Why aren't you with your lover? What are you doing here?" They had not seen each other for 2 to 3 days. Qiu Qianwei was obviously much more haggard. Her face was pale, and her eyes were slightly bloodshot. She must have had a poor sleep over the past few days. "Master, you're mistaken. There's nothing between me and Wang Haoren. This is an act to deceive you," Chui Xiao said hurriedly. "What?" Qiu Qianwei was shocked. "Master, if you don't believe me, you can see for yourself." Chui Xiao showed Qiu Qianwei the entire video of that day in the bedroom. In the first part of the video, Wang Haoren and Chui Xiao rehearsed for a while. Then, Qiu Qianwei came to the door thinking that they had slept together. She ran away heartbroken. Then, Chui Xiao came out of the blanket fully dressed. At this point, Qiu Qianwei did not continue watching. She suddenly felt as if she had woken up from a dream. "Master, your injury is considered a perfect performance. Congratulations on getting what you wanted. As your only disciple, I really feel honored." Chui Xiao smiled. Hearing this, Qiu Qianwei's pain and gloominess from the past few days were instantly swept away, and her mood instantly became incomparably good. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Qiu Qianwei towards the host has increased by 15. Current favorability is 90, unchanging until death. Ding! The host has greatly influenced the direction of the plot. Obtained 1,600 villain points. Lin Chen's protagonist aura -80. The host's villain aura +80. Speaking of which, you also contributed to this honor. But to be honest, other than your musical talent, your acting is also really good. Qiu Qianwei's face bloomed with a smile again. "Master, actually, I wasn't acting." Qiu Qianwei was stunned. "I actually really like Wang Haoren," Chui Xiao confessed. Then her face fell again. "But I know that I'm not good enough for him. Only an excellent woman like you, Master, would be a match made in heaven for him." Xiao. Qiu Qianwei wanted to comfort her, but didn't know what to say. "Master, I'm fine. I've been acting as his girlfriend for the past few days, and I'm actually quite satisfied. At least I have good memory." Chui Xiao was very cheerful. After being depressed for a while, she quickly got over it. "Right, where is he?" Qiu Qianwei's face was slightly red as she asked. "I don't know, but at this time, he must be hiding." Speaking of this, Chui Xiao also became nervous. "What's going on?" Qiu Qianwei's phone was already out of battery, so she didn't know what happened at all. "Master, let me show you some news." Chui Xiao turned on her phone and opened some headlines for Qiu Qianwei to see. 5 million bounty! How could this be? Qiu Qianwei's face quickly became as white as paper. She never would have thought that her simple acceptance speech would lead people to the piano god and bring him such danger. Qiu Qianwei was burning with anxiety. She took Chui Xiao's phone and dialed Wang Haoren's number. But the receiver reminded her that the number she dialed was turned off. Go back to the city immediately," Qiu Qianwei said anxiously. "Master, it's already dark. It's dangerous to drive on the mountain road. Don't worry about it. Give me the keys. I'll drive back myself. Then let's go back together. I'll drive." Chui Xiao was afraid that Qiu Qianwei would be anxious and immediately made a choice. Although Chui Xiao's driving skills weren't very good, compared to Qiu Qianwei, who had barely touched a car after getting her driver's license, she was still better. Late at night, Wang Haoren came out of an internet cafe. His spirit was slightly dispirited. After all, he had been working continuously for 24 hours. Even if he was in good health, he still felt a little tired. In the information age, it wasn't difficult to find a person in real life through traces on the internet. As long as he was given a little more time, his identity as the piano god would be exposed on the internet. But fortunately, he had top-level hacking skills. He spent 24 hours creating a super virus. Just now, the super virus took effect and wiped out all information about the piano god on the internet. It was almost impossible for anyone to find Wong Howren online through the piano god, unless someone exposed him offline. And the only people who knew that Wong Howren was the piano god were Yang Jingwan, Su Muyin, and the other female protagonists. With their favorability ratings, they definitely wouldn't do such a thing. The 5 million reward should come to an end. But just to be on the safe side, Wong Howren still spent 12,000 villain points in exchange for 24 years of internal energy. He directly accumulated 50 years of internal energy. After 50 years of internal energy, the internal energy would undergo a qualitative change. It would be able to condense energy to protect the body and reach the point of invulnerability. In addition, the various senses would become stronger and the combat power would greatly increase. On his status panel, the combat power value had also increased from 1369 to 2449. This combat power value was quite terrifying. Perhaps only those old martial artists with more than 50 years of internal energy could threaten Wong Howren. However, at their level, they were at least masters. It was unlikely that they would lower themselves to be hired thugs for 5 million. Looking at the villain points tab, it had shrunk to 9,500. Wong Howren couldn't help but feel his heart ache. Chapter 195. After he walked out of the internet cafe, he took out his phone and was about to call Chui Xiao to ask about the situation. However, he realized that his phone was out of battery. He looked around and saw a place on the street that provided a power bank. He scanned the QR code and charged the power bank. After a while, his phone could be turned on. There were some missed calls on his phone. Most of them were from Chui Xiao. Wong Howren answered Chui Xiao's call. "Are you okay? Where are you now?" Xiao Qianwei's nervous and happy voice came from the phone. When Wong Howren heard her tone, he knew that Chui Xiao had explained the situation clearly. "I'm fine. I'm just wandering around the street," Wong Howren said. "Don't wander around outside. You should find a place to hide." Xiao Qianwei's brain worked quickly. She then suggested, "How about this? I'll send you the address. Go there, and I'll come find you." "No problem." After the call ended, Xiao Qianwei sent the address. The address showed that it was at a hilltop villa. Then, Wong Howren called Qin Yunhan, Su Muyin, and the other female protagonists who knew that he was the piano god. He told them that the bounty storm had subsided and that he was fine. After that, he reached out and flagged down a taxi. He wanted to take a taxi to the place that Xiao Qianwei told him about. However, it was too late. The road was narrow and there was not much traffic. He waited for a while, but did not see a taxi coming. Wong Howren checked the map and found that this place was close to the downtown area. He planned to go through the alleys in the nearby residential area to take a taxi. The lights in the alleys were dim and the road on the ground was difficult to see. Fortunately, his X-ray vision had night vision. Naturally, he could still see the road. Not long after, he came to the depths of the alleys. Da-da-da. Da-da. There were 3 people's footsteps nearby. These footsteps were at least 200 meters away from Wong Howren. If it were not for his improved internal energy and improved hearing, he would not have been able to hear these footsteps. From the frequency of the footsteps, he could tell that these 3 people were moving very fast, far faster than normal people. Only those who practice martial arts had such leg strength. Wong Howren was slightly startled. He suspected that these people were here for him, because the sound of their footsteps was getting closer and closer, and it seemed like they were coming in his direction. With this thought in mind, Wong Howren's figure flashed, and in a few flashes, he quickly arrived on the roof of a 2-story residential building. Now that he had 50 years of internal energy, flying over walls and running on walls was a piece of cake for him. Soon, the 3 of them appeared in Wong Howren's field of vision. Of the 3 people, 2 were in front and 1 was behind. It was as if they were chasing and fleeing. Wang Howren immediately realized that he had made a mistake. The three of them were not here for him. The person chasing after him had a curvaceous figure. It was a woman. The two who were running away had broad shoulders and were clearly men. However, the woman's leg strength was much faster. When she was about the same distance, she leaped into the air, and her figure drew a parabola in the air, blocking the two men's path. The woman had a short sword in her hand, which gave off a chilling aura. "How much money did you take? We can pay you double, no, 5 times. Let alone 5 times. We can even pay you 10 times. The two men, and one of them, said fearfully, "I only take $1 for each person I kill." The female assassin's voice had a bone-chilling coldness. "You? Who are you?" Hearing such a strange rule, the two men were shocked and could not help but ask. "My code name is Female Judge. I'm here to take your lives with the vengeful souls of 9 young girls who chose to commit suicide because of humiliation." The voice was cold, as if it came from hell. "You're the female judge who ranks first on the female assassin ranking." The two men had obviously heard of this female assassin before, and the fear on their faces grew. This was because this female judge was different from ordinary assassins. She specialized in killing evil people, and until now, she had never failed. The two men knew that they had committed many heinous crimes over the years, and the female judge would definitely not let them go. The two of them completely dismissed the idea of begging for mercy and reached for their waists. However, before they could raise their hands halfway, the female assassin's ghostly figure brushed past them. She turned her back and confidently sheathed her short sword. Behind her, under the dim light, a hole appeared in each of the two men's hearts. After sheathing her sword, the female assassin did not even look at her two targets and was prepared to leave confidently. However, at this moment, a loud clang came from behind her. The female assassin turned around in shock and saw that the man who had fallen to the ground was still alive. Beside him, there was a wooden gun that had just been knocked down. The female assassin could not help but gasp. Then, like a phantom, she flitted past the man who was still alive and gave him another blow on the neck. This man was no longer breathing, and he was finally dead. The female assassin checked the man's left and right chest, and only then did she understand why the man was still alive with a hole in his left heart. This man was different from ordinary people, and his heart was on the right side. "Who's helping?" The female assassin swept her gaze around and asked the people around her. She did not set up any defenses behind her, and if the man's wooden gun had not been knocked down, she would probably be a dead person now. There was no silence in the surroundings, and no one responded. The female assassin could only give up, but with a curious mind, she lowered her head to check the gun that had been knocked down. She saw that a broken tile was deeply embedded in the metal weapon. The female assassin widened her eyes in shock. With just this skill alone, it was impossible to do it without more than 40 years of internal strength. "Senior, can you show yourself?" The female assassin said respectfully to the surroundings again. However, there was still no response from the surroundings. The female assassin sighed and could only give up. After saying, "Thank you for your help, Senior," again, her figure flashed a few times and quickly left the place. After the female assassin disappeared, Wang Howren showed up. From the conversation just now, he could tell that the two men were completely demons in human skin, and it would not be an exaggeration to say that they should die 1,000,000 times. Although Wang Howren was a villain was also a human. Humans and demons were naturally on opposite sides. Therefore, he conveniently helped the female assassin just now. In order to avoid getting into trouble, Wang Howren also quickly left. About half an hour later, he arrived at the place that Xiao Qianwei had mentioned. Xiao Qianwei and Cui Xiao were waiting outside the door of the villa. When Xiao Qianwei saw Wang Howren, she immediately rushed over and hugged Wang Howren tightly. After a long time, she finally let go. The two of them looked at each other in silence, but they could see the burning flame of love in each other's eyes. Under the moonlight, the two figures' heads gradually leaned closer. Cui Xiao subconsciously covered her eyes and then drove away in the car. She did not greet them because she knew that even if she did, the two of them who were hugging each other would not have time to talk to her. The two of them entered the villa together, closed the door, and then went to the sofa in the living room. These days, Qiu Qianwei did not come back, and the nanny had already gone home. In a huge villa, no one disturbed them. Chapter 196. Qiu Qianwei's favorability level had reached 90. Basically, she would listen to whatever Wang Haoran said. Under such circumstances, there was no need for any nonsense. A great battle was about to begin. However, at this moment, there was a frantic ringing of the doorbell outside the villa. After being disturbed, Qiu Qianwei sobered up a little. Someone's here. I'll go and see who it is. She pushed Wang Haoran away with a red face and walked to the door. Through the surveillance camera at the door, she immediately recognized the person outside. Hurry up and hide. Hurry up. Qiu Qianwei's expression changed as she urged Wang Haoran. Who is it? Can't you just send them away? I can't do that. It's my fourth sister. Hurry up and hide. Don't show yourself if I don't call you. Qiu Qianwei said anxiously. Your fourth sister? Wang Haoran's eyes lit up. Then he became curious. So what if it's your fourth sister? Why are you so nervous? My fourth sister must have seen the news about me on the internet. That's why she came to find me. If you don't hide, you'll be in danger. Why don't you just tell her that it's a misunderstanding? It's not that simple. Although your intention is to help me, with my fourth sister's personality, she won't let you off easily. Your fourth sister is so scary. Will she eat people? Wang Haoran smiled. If you know what she does, then you'll be afraid. Qiu Qianwei's tone was gloomy. What's her name? What does she do? Wang Haoran was curious. My fourth sister is called Bufian. She's an assassin. The super powerful kind. Assassin? Could it be so coincidental? Wang Haoran raised his eyebrows. He could not help but think of the female assassin he met in the alley just now. The ringing of the doorbell was getting more urgent. Why are you still standing there? Hurry up and hide. Go to the attic on the second floor. Qiu Qianwei pushed Wang Haoran. Seeing that Qiu Qianwei was so nervous, Wang Haoran followed her instructions. After all, Qiu Qianwei's fourth elder sister was also one of the female leads. Hiding the matter from Qiu Qianwei could reduce the difficulty of winning her heart. Clothes. Qiu Qianwei picked up the things on the ground and threw them at him. Under Qiu Qianwei's anxious gaze, Wang Haoran went up to the second floor. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief. She tidied up her clothes and her slightly messy hair, then went outside to open the door. A woman in black appeared in Qiu Qianwei's field of vision. Fourth elder sister, why did you suddenly come? Qiu Qianwei suppressed the panic in her heart and asked happily. I saw some rumors on the internet, so I came to see you. Are you okay? Bufian asked. There's no scum. It's all a misunderstanding. We just quarreled that day. It's fine now. Qiu Qianwei exculpated her sweetheart. Seventh sister, you really found a boyfriend? Bufian was surprised and immediately asked. We can't reconcile. How dare he hurt my seventh sister's heart? He must pay the price. Tell me, who is he? Hearing this, Qiu Qianwei only felt a slight headache. Fourth elder sister, Bufian, was very protective of her. When Qiu Qianwei had just become famous, a senior in the music industry wanted to suppress her. After Bufian found out, she directly went to find that senior in the music industry. Qiu Qianwei didn't know what exactly happened, but the next day, that senior in the music industry went crazy and was directly sent to a mental hospital. Qiu Qianwei was afraid that Bufian would do something extreme, so she didn't dare to reveal her sweetheart's information. Fourth elder sister, he's very powerful. You might not be able to defeat him, so you'd better not find trouble with him. Qiu Qianwei fooled her. Ha! There are not many people in the world that I can't defeat. Bufian snorted proudly. Fourth elder sister, don't ask me. I won't tell you. Qiu Qianwei didn't want to give up. As far as I know, you should have been in a relationship with a boyfriend when you attended the Glory Festival. I'll find out who you've been in contact with and what you've done soon. Hearing this, Qiu Qianwei couldn't help but worry about Wang Haoran. I've been standing here for so long. Why don't you invite me in? Bufian suddenly asked in surprise. Fourth elder sister, are you still planning to stay here? Qiu Qianwei was shocked. Am I not welcome? Bufian's expression was strange. Of course, you're welcome. Qiu Qianwei immediately put on a smile, but in her heart, she was very depressed. With fourth elder sister Bufian here, it seemed that she wouldn't be able to meet Wang Haoren tonight. It's really that female assassin in the alley. Wang Haoren, who was hiding in the attic, sized up Bufian from afar with his X-ray vision and immediately identified her. When they were in the alley, because the lights were dim and Bufian's face was covered with a black veil, he couldn't see her face clearly. But their stunning curves were exactly the same. They were obviously the same person. If they were to be graded on a scale of 100, Bufian's appearance was 96, her figure was 98, and her temperament was 96. Qiu Qianwei's temperament was the most outstanding, and Bufian's figure was the most eye-catching. But to sum it up, she was another top-notch female lead. As for Bufian finding trouble with him, he wasn't too worried. First of all, Bufian had to go abroad to investigate what happened during the festival, which would take a lot of time. By the time she came back, what was done would be done. Second of all, even if Bufian found him, so what? She couldn't beat him. But what made Wang Haoren a little depressed was that Bufian refused to leave at night. It seemed that he would have to stay in the attic for the night. Because of the incident on the internet, Wang Haoren hadn't rested for more than 20 hours, and he was a little tired. Not long after, he fell into a deep sleep in the attic. In a bedroom, Qiu Qianwei suddenly received a message, so she eagerly said to Bufian, "Fourth sister, sixth sister asked me out for dinner tomorrow. I've already agreed. Shall we go together?" "No, it's not a good experience to eat with sixth sister, so I won't go." Bufian shook her head fiercely. "But you haven't seen sixth sister for a long time. Don't you want to see her?" Qiu Qianwei played the emotional card. "Compared to this, I want to know who the scumbag who hurt you is as soon as possible." Bufian raised her eyebrows at her. "But if you tell me directly, I won't go abroad. I'll accompany you to see sixth sister tomorrow. Fourth sister, it's getting late. Let's go to bed." Qiu Qianwei smiled embarrassedly and directly crawled under the blanket, pretending to be asleep. The next morning, Bufian had just left the villa. Wang Haoren walked out of the attic. Chapter 197. My fourth sister has gone abroad. She will definitely find the hotel where we are staying. As long as she checks, she will probably find you. Qiu Qianwei was very worried. When the two were in the hotel, they had some interactions between couples, such as chatting together and taking a walk hand in hand. Although most of them were in private at that time, they were still seen by the hotel's waiters several times. If Bufian went to check the hotel's waiters, she would definitely find Wang Haoren. Your fourth sister is a killer. If she finds me, she won't kill me directly, right? Wang Haoren made a throat-slitting gesture and added fuel to the fire. That shouldn't be the case, but you will definitely suffer a lot. Then what should I do? I don't know either. You'd better stay by my side during this period of time. If my fourth sister really comes looking for you, I can intercede for you if I'm around. Then that's the only way. Wang Haoren responded casually, and then his mind became active. Your fourth sister is gone. No one will disturb us. I just woke up and found that. I have to wait for a week. Qiu Qianwei's face was bitter. Wang Haoren slapped his forehead gloomily. Bufian came at such a bad time, right? I'll make breakfast for you. What do you want to eat? Qiu Qianwei saw Wang Haoren's expression, chuckled, and asked softly, You know how to make breakfast? Wang Haoren was surprised. No, but I can learn. There are many recipes for making breakfast on the internet. I don't think so. Your hand is too precious. If it gets cut by a knife or burned by fire, it will be terrible. Wang Haoren rejected Qiu Qianwei's proposal and then said, I don't think so. I'll see what's in the kitchen. I'll make it. Handsome, talented, and so considerate. I must have saved the galaxy in my previous life to find such a boyfriend in this life. Qiu Qianwei was touched. Ding! The female lead Qiu Qianwei's favorability towards the host has increased by 5. Current favorability is 95 until death. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Obtained 400 villain points. Wang Haoren wasn't surprised when he received the system notification. When the favorability level rose to a certain level, even a simple and warm gesture was enough to make the female lead infatuated. Wang Haoran was actually not very good at cooking, but since he had already said it, he naturally had to do it. He found some noodles in the kitchen, so he cooked some simple noodles. Due to his lack of experience, the noodles didn't taste very good. He almost couldn't eat it himself. However, Qiu Qianwei ate with relish. She even drank every drop of broth. Sure enough, a woman who had fallen into the river of love was too easily satisfied. Now that we're full, let's go out. I'll bring you to meet someone, Qiu Qianwei said as she cleared the table. I'm not going. Wang Haoran shook his head. He had promised to stay by Qiu Qianwei's side before because he had a bad idea. However, it was not convenient for Qiu Qianwei now, so there was no need for that for the time being. At least for a week, there was no need for that. Come with me. I'll introduce you to my sixth sister. Qiu Qianwei felt like she was bringing her boyfriend to meet her parents, so she was a little shy. Your sixth sister? Let's go. Wang Haoran agreed immediately. Qiu Qianwei's sisters were all female leads. The fourth sister, Bu Fian, was a little special. It was not easy to get in touch with her for the time being. However, now that there was a chance to get close to Qiu Qianwei's sixth sister, he naturally didn't want to miss it. Qiu Qianwei was fully armed and covered herself tightly. Then, she set off with Wang Haoran. About 40 minutes later, the two of them arrived at an aquarium. Not long after, Qiu Qianwei's sixth sister, Ji Shuiyao, also appeared. Wang Haoran also secretly rated her. Appearance, 98. Figure, 96. Temperament, 96. Compared to Qiu Qianwei and Bu Fian, Ji Shuiyao, one of the top female leads, was the most beautiful. She had no makeup at all, but it was as if she was born with makeup. Her beauty was unparalleled. Even though she was dressed simply, she was still the prettiest girl in the crowd. Sixth sister, this is my friend. To avoid trouble, Qiu Qianwei purposely made it clear. Wang Haoran reached out his hand to Ji Shuiyao in a friendly manner. Nice to meet you. Everyone's hand has an average of 150 types of bacteria. When we shake hands, the types of bacteria in our hands will increase. Other than my family, I never shake hands with anyone else, Ji Shuiyao said calmly without much emotion on her face. That's my sixth sister's habit. Sorry, Qiu Qianwei said to Wang Haoran embarrassedly. Hearing this, Wang Haoran could only retract his hand that was frozen in midair. Sixth sister, isn't my friend handsome? Qiu Qianwei saw that there was an awkward silence, so she immediately found a topic to liven up the atmosphere. Of course, she also secretly wanted to show off her boyfriend. A living body is a molecular system composed of nucleic acids, proteins, and other substances. Because the structural arrangement is different, the appearance will also be different. But in essence, they're all organisms. There is no distinction between good-looking and ugly. Ji Shuiyao looked serious as she slowly explained. Qiu Qianwei was quite helpless with this awkward silence. She didn't know how to respond. Achoo! On the side, Wang Haoran suddenly sneezed. There's a pharmacy on the right of the entrance of the oceanarium. Go buy a mask and wear it. Ji Shuiyao suddenly took the initiative to say, There's no need for that, right? Wang Haoran was stunned. Ji Shuiyao said seriously, when a person sneezes, their speed can reach 177 kilometers per hour, which is equivalent to half the speed limit of a high-speed car. A cough could spray out 20,000 tiny droplets, and a sneeze could spray out nearly 1,000,000 droplets. Moreover, the droplets were sprayed out at a very fast speed. In less than 1 second, they could fly out 4-6 meters, and if the wind was blowing, they could reach a distance of 9 meters. The nasal cavity and throat are one of the places where bacteria and viruses gather the most. The droplets that are sprayed out contain a large amount of bacteria and viruses. A sneeze can spray up to 85 million bacteria. These tiny droplets can float in the air for a long time. In a windless room, they can float for 30 to 60 minutes and can float for up to 30 hours. After the droplets evaporate, the bacteria and viruses will fly with the dust and continue to harm people's health. She said to Wang Haoran seriously, It looks like you've caught a cold. You'll be sneezing a lot, so please buy a mask immediately and put it on. Otherwise, please keep at least 10 meters away from me. What does your sister do? Wang Haoran couldn't help but ask Xiao Qianwei. I almost forgot to tell you. My sister is a scientist. Xiao Qianwei quickly said. A scientist? Wang Haoran finally understood why Ji Shuiyao spoke so strangely. Yes, the world's youngest scientist. She specializes in marine biology. She is currently 21 years old. Xiao Qianwei was slightly proud as she introduced her sister in detail. Chapter 198. This is tricky. After listening to Xiao Qianwei's detailed explanation, Wang Haoran couldn't help but secretly sigh. His originally off-the-charts charm value didn't have any effect on this freak Ji Shuiyao. It wasn't going to be easy to deal with her. Ji Shuiyao was still staring at him with a serious expression. I happen to have a mask here. Here you go. Xiao Qianwei took out a new mask to cover her face from her bag. Wang Haoran put on the mask gloomily. Ji Shuiyao looked away and looked at Xiao Qianwei. My colleagues and I are going to explore a newly discovered ocean area tomorrow. Do you want to come with us? I'm busy, so I won't be going. Xiao Qianwei had now achieved her ultimate dream of music, so she didn't pay much attention to music anymore. She just wanted to be with her beloved and didn't want to go anywhere else. When my colleagues went to explore, they took a lot of pictures of the ocean. It's the most beautiful scenery in the world. Let me show you. Ji Shuiyao didn't want to give up. She wanted to share the good stuff with her sister. She immediately took out her phone and showed some pictures to Xiao Qianwei. After seeing it, Xiao Qianwei only thought that the scenery was good. She didn't want to go there. Sister Lu's description was too exaggerated, but it was normal. Sister Lu majored in marine biology and had a fascination with the ocean. Sister Lu, Xiao Qianwei was about to refuse. Wow, what a beautiful ocean, Wang Haoran said exaggeratedly. He stared at the pictures on Ji Shuiyao's phone and seemed to be stunned. You like the ocean too? Ji Shuiyao's serious face showed a hint of surprise. I've been looking forward to the ocean since I was a child. I'm curious about the ocean world, especially whether there are mermaids in the ocean. Wang Haoran suddenly made up a story to suit her interest. Mermaids are just a legend. Whether or not such creatures exist in this world is still a mystery. However, this is one of the directions that I have been trying to explore. Ji Shuiyao's face was filled with the zeal of a scientist. After hearing Wang Haoran's words, Ji Shuiyao's gaze towards Wang Haoran also softened a little. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Ji Shuiyao towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 10 friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Obtained 400 villain points. Miss Ji, can I follow your team to take a look? Wang Haoran asked after receiving the notification. Sure. Ji Shuiyao nodded. Sixth sister, I want to go too. When Xiao Qianwei saw that Wang Haoran wanted to go, she naturally changed her mind. A few days later, a scientific research ship appeared in an unknown sea area in the subtropics. Wang Haoran, Xiao Qianwei, Ji Shuiyao, and some scientific researchers stood on the deck and looked at the scenery of the unknown sea area around them. Suddenly, a short figure ran out of the cabin and appeared in everyone's field of vision. Little Chun, why are you here too? Xiao Qianwei asked in surprise. Sixth sister didn't bring me along, so I hid in the scientific research ship in advance and followed you, Lin Chun said proudly. Since you're here, you should be obedient. Don't make me worry, Ji Shuiyao said. Sixth sister, not only will I not hinder you, I might even be able to help you. It's good enough that you don't cause me trouble. Not to mention anything else, arranging your accommodation is a problem. I live alone anyway. Let him stay at my place. Wang Haoran looked at Lin Shan with a smile and said to Ji Shuiyao. Okay. Ji Shuiyao nodded. Big brother, why are you here too? Lin Shan looked at Wang Haoran, and his little heart couldn't help but twitch fiercely. Before he met Wang Haoran, he didn't know how smooth it was for him to show off. However, after meeting Wang Haoran, he was often restrained. He was simply his nemesis. Of course, I followed you openly. Wang Haoran smiled playfully. Lin Chen's sudden appearance caused a small disturbance, but it quickly calmed down. The scientific research ship continued to move forward, heading into the depths of the unknown sea area. According to the scheduled route, they would reach the marked exploration point tomorrow. At that time, they could dive into the sea to explore. If there were no problems, they could begin to collect marine life specimens. At night, Lin Chun heard the sound of even breathing coming from the side, so he quietly got up and walked out of the cabin. Just as Lin Chun left the cabin, Wang Haoran suddenly opened his eyes. However, Wang Haoran did not get up. This was because he only needed to use his eyes to see Lin Chen's movements. Lin Chen secretly went to a warehouse where diving equipment was stored. He took out the diving suit with a subtle mark and hid it in an inconspicuous corner of the warehouse, covering it with debris. This diving suit looked the same as other diving suits on the surface, but its function was completely different. This was because he spent a lot of points to exchange for this from the system mall. Super diving suit. After wearing the super diving suit, the speed of swimming could be comparable to that of submarine, and it could also withstand the extremely terrifying sea pressure and dive to the deepest part of the sea to explore. With this set of super diving suit, collecting marine life specimens living in the deep sea would be a piece of cake. When the time comes, I'll take this suit out and give it to Six Sister. She will definitely be overjoyed. With Six Sister's dedication to science, no matter how excessive my request is, Six Sister will probably agree. Lin Chun was delighted. After hiding the super diving suit, he could finally sleep in peace. Late at night, after Ji Shuiyao finished discussing some scientific matters with her colleagues, she was ready to return to her place of residence. However, when she passed by other cabins, she suddenly heard someone complaining inside. The research ship is only so big, and there are so many of us here. It's already a little crowded to begin with. They even want us to empty a cabin for a person who doesn't do anything. It's making us so crowded. What's the meaning of this? That's right. As long as he can do something, we'll tolerate it. He looks like the young master of a rich family. He's so delicate and noble. What can he do? Us explorers are all in groups of 2, 3, or even 4. We're all squeezed into one cabin, but that useless person lives alone in a cabin. It's really uncomfortable. Ji Shuiyao planned to let Wang Haoran squeeze in with the other scientific researchers, but Qiu Qianwei was afraid that Wang Haoran would not sleep well. So she asked Ji Shuiyao to arrange a cabin for Wang Haoran alone. However, Ji Shuiyao did not think so much of the time, so she agreed directly. The next morning, Ji Shuiyao found Wang Haoran to talk in private. My seventh sister is not suitable for swearing. Little Chun is too young, but you're a strong man. You've taken up the resources of the scientific research ship, so I hope you can do something to prevent others from gossiping about you. Ji Shuiyao said straightforwardly. No problem, I can dive. If you need me, just let me know. Wang Haoran smiled happily. Chapter 199. In the morning, the scientific research ship came to the exploration point marked in the unknown sea area. There were a total of 15 people on the diving team on the ship, including Ji Shuiyao and Wang Haoran. There were a total of 17 people. The 17 people were ready to set off to explore. If they found that this sea area was safe after the exploration, then they could start collecting marine specimens tomorrow. Sister 6, this diving suit is for you. Lin Chun excitedly took out the diving suit that he had hidden. I have my own special diving suit. I don't need this. Ji Shuiyao refused. Sister 6, use the diving suit I chose. I specially modified it. After you go into the water, there will be a surprise. Lin Chun said mysteriously. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao did not object anymore. This child prodigy brother could often do some unexpected things. Since he said so, presumably this diving suit was definitely not simple. Ji Shuiyao went to her cabin to change into the diving suit and came to the deck to gather. You're not a professional diver. It's better if you don't go down. Qiu Qianwei was very worried, so she persuaded Wang Haoran. My diving skills are not bad. Don't worry. Wang Haoran smiled. He spent 1,300 villain points in exchange for a master-level diving skill in the system shop. Looking at these professional divers around him, no one was better than him. What's more, he also had Lin Chen's super assistance. Then you should be careful. If you encounter anything wrong, you should quickly retreat. Qiu Qianwei saw that he had made up his mind, so she did not try to persuade him anymore, but she still reminded him, "Are you really okay?" Ji Shuiyao also came over at this time, wanting to confirm again. "Don't worry, I'm a professional." "Okay." Hearing this affirmative reply, Ji Shuiyao stopped nagging. The personnel were gathered and all the equipment was equipped. Everyone came to the submarine inside the scientific research ship, and then the submarine descended into the deep sea. When it reached a certain depth under the sea, the submarine stabilized. The personnel controlling the submarine detected the sea pressure and determined the value of the sea pressure that the diving suit could withstand. Then, they threw out a searchlight to illuminate the surrounding area. The scenery of the underwater world soon appeared in everyone's vision. Countless small fishes formed groups and surged like a tide. Some of them scattered in all directions, while others gathered at the bottom of the sea. The scene was spectacular. The turtle moved its limbs as if it was swimming aimlessly. There were also fast-swimming fishes that could easily swim more than 10 meters in the sea with a single dash. There were also unknown fishes. Some were as flat as paper, some were as round as a ball, and some were like chopsticks. In short, they were all bizarre. There were also some large fishes that swam around with their large bodies. They patrolled the area majestically as if they were ready to attack at any moment. The underwater world was beautiful, but it was also accompanied by danger. 17 people in diving suits left the submarine in an orderly manner. Wang Haoran tried to swim a little. With his master-level diving skill and Lin Chen's super diving suit, he felt like a fish in water. After he swam out of everyone's sight, he began to study the use of the diving suit. In about 5 minutes, he had mastered everything. The super diving suit could only be described with one word: awesome. As he swam, Wang Haoran unknowingly reached the deepest part of the sea. Some data was displayed on the super diving suit. They were at a depth of 12,301 meters. The sea pressure was above 11,102 atmospheres. The terrifying sea pressure was enough to flatten a tank. Without the use of tools, humans could dive to a depth of about 40 meters. With the help of professional tools, they could dive to a depth of 7,000 meters. That was the current limit. However, the super diving suit was too strong. Even at a depth of 10,000 meters, it could still easily withstand the sea pressure. Moreover, the speed at which it swam was also quite terrifying. It could be described as flying in the sea. At a depth of 10,000 meters, there was no trace of sunlight at all. The surroundings were completely dark. It was like a pitch-black universe. There was no light at all. Fortunately, the super diving suit had a built-in sensor. Through the schematic diagram sent by the sensor, it could determine the surrounding obstacles and creatures. The only difference from human vision was that there were no colors. There was no problem in seeing the surroundings clearly. Number 17, please reply if you hear me. Ji Shuiyao's voice came from the underwater communication device. Number 17 was Wang Haoran's temporary code name. Roger, number 1, please speak, Wang Haoran replied. Why aren't you in the area you explored? Ji Shuiyao asked seriously. I'm near Area P. I'll return to my original position immediately. Wang Haoran replied immediately. The 17 divers were divided into an exploration area. Everyone had their own mission. Wang Haoran's mission was to explore the area marked as Area P. Through the underwater communication device, within a certain distance, everyone could roughly know each other's position. Once they were a certain distance away, the divers' positions would disappear. That was why Ji Shuiyao specifically asked. After Wang Haoran replied to the message, he immediately prepared to turn back. However, at this moment, the sensor of the super diving suit showed that there was a huge life form approaching. The schematic diagram showed that the life form was 26 meters long, weighed about 76 tons, and had a bite force of about 37 tons. In the ocean, such a huge life form was rare, and from its shape, it was obvious what it was. A shark. Wang Haoran couldn't help but panic. But then he quickly remembered that he was wearing the super diving suit, so he wouldn't be in any danger. Because to destroy the super diving suit, it would require a bite force of more than 50 tons. In other words, the shark couldn't break his defense at all. Wang Haoren was slightly relieved. Although the shark's body was huge, its swimming speed was shockingly fast. It passed by Wang Haoren and swam toward the sea above. It was the first time Wang Haoren saw such a huge life form. He was very curious, so he activated the acceleration mode and followed. Not long after, the shark arrived at the area between 6,000 and 7,000 meters deep. After a few minutes, it turned back to the bottom of the sea. At the place where the shark stopped, there were some searchlights. It wasn't hard to guess that the shark was attracted by the searchlights. But before Wang Haoren could think about it, Ji Shuiyao sent another message, asking if everyone's exploration was complete. Many people replied that the exploration was complete through the communication device. Therefore, Wang Haoren didn't stay for long and went back to meet up with everyone. Chapter 200. The explorers took the submarine back to the research ship. Sister 6, what do you think of the diving suit I gave you? Is it super powerful? Lin Shun saw Ji Shuiyao appear and happily greeted her. It's similar to my diving suit. There's no difference. Ji Shuiyao was disappointed. After she finished speaking, she ignored Lin Shun because she still had business to attend to. How could this be? Lin Shun was stunned in place, his head full of confusion. Ding! The host switched Lin Chen's super diving suit, causing Lin Chen to fail to please the female lead Ji Shuiyao. Gained 800 villain points. Lin Shun protagonist aura -40. Host villain aura +40. On the deck, Wang Haoren, who was with the explorers, received the system notification. Everyone, report the results of the exploration. Ji Shuiyao came to the deck and asked everyone. Area A is safe. Area B is safe. Area C is safe. Listening to everyone's report, Ji Shuiyao's serious face couldn't help but reveal a joyful smile. If the exploration area was safe, then they could collect marine specimens as soon as possible. When she was diving, she found some marine creatures that didn't belong to any known species in the world. They were new marine species that hadn't been discovered by humans yet. As long as they collected these marine specimens and studied them, they would definitely have a huge harvest. However, just as Ji Shuiyao was feeling a strong sense of anticipation, the last incongruous voice of the report rang out. Area P is dangerous. Wang Haoren said. Be more specific. Ji Shuiyao's face stiffened slightly, and she immediately said, There are sharks in Area P. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao suddenly let out a sigh of relief. Sharks had a certain pattern in choosing their targets, and when they were full, they wouldn't attack. Even if they did encounter a predatory shark, they didn't have to worry too much with the high-strength tranquilizer. Sharks are nothing. We've been exploring the ocean for at least 8 years and have encountered many sharks. We've even caught one before. Look at how scared you are. A diver next to her laughed. Ha! The divers around them couldn't help but laugh. Sharks also have different sizes. Have you seen a 20-meter-long shark? Wang Haoren sneered and asked the crowd. Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned and subconsciously stopped laughing. Currently, the largest whale shark in the world is generally no more than 13 meters long. Are you sure you saw a shark with a body length of 20 meters? Ji Shuiyao asked doubtfully. I'm not a professional, so I can't tell the species of the shark, but I can tell you for sure that the shark I saw was definitely 20 meters long, Wang Haoren said seriously. I suggest that we find another exploration point to collect marine specimens. Ji Shuiyao was at a loss. There were too many submerged reefs and undersea whirlpools in this unknown area. It was not easy to find this relatively safe exploration spot. If he were to find another exploration point, who knew how long it would take? However, if what Wang Haoren said was true, it would be very dangerous. Although we lost the searchlight, we still can't see clearly in the sea. You must be mistaken. How can there be a 20-meter-long shark? That's right, the current shark species in the world can't reach this size at all. No, the megalodon is this big. Are you kidding me? That's a species that lived about 28 million to 1. 5 million years ago. It's extinct now. The surrounding people were discussing. Collect according to the original plan tomorrow. Ji Shuiyao was a swift and decisive person. After a short thought, she immediately made a decision. Wang Haoren was a layman after all. He was not a professional diver and had not seen much of the world. It was normal for him to misestimate the size of the shark. Besides, if the shark was really 20 meters long, it was basically a megalodon without a doubt. However, the megalodon had long been extinct, so this possibility did not exist. Let's go eat. After hearing Ji Shuiyao's decision, the others also agreed very much. In a burst of laughter, they quickly left the deck. The next day, the submarine set off again. Everyone brought their collection tools and went to the area they had explored the day before. In addition to the professional divers who explored yesterday, there were other workers on the scientific research ship. All the collection personnel added up to a total of 35 people. After thinking for a while, Ji Shuiyao was ready to divide 2 people into a group and then go to the 17 explored areas to collect. During the grouping, "Miss Ji, I'll be in a group with you." Wang Haoren took the initiative. "I need a professional to cooperate with me. I don't want to bring someone who might drag me down." Ji Shuiyao was very strict with her research work. After hearing Wang Haoren's proposal, she directly rejected it. "Miss Ji, I wish you good luck." Wang Haoren shrugged helplessly. Soon, the teams were divided and the collection work began. Because of the number of people, there was a team with 3 people. One of the 3 people in the team was Ji Shuiyao. Ji Shuiyao equipped the team with the best weapons and equipment and directly chose to explore Area P, where sharks had appeared. After arriving at Area P, Ji Shuiyao found that it was very quiet. There was not even a large fish in sight. Like I said, that brat must have seen wrongly, or he is deliberately mystifying to scare us. That must be it. That kid must be unwilling to work for us, so he deliberately caused trouble for us. Fortunately, Vice Principal Ji did not believe him. Vice Principal Ji is wise. When we get on the boat, we must teach that brat a lesson. That's right, it's best to catch him and beat him up. The 2 collectors in Ji Shuiyao's team began to talk one after another. However, Ji Shuiyao did not speak. She just frowned and looked at the surrounding scene with the help of the light of the searchlight. According to her experience, there was something unusual about this place. She had explored other areas before. According to the density of fish in this large area of the sea, the fish in Area P were too rare. Could it be? Not good. Let's get out of here. Ji Shuiyao's professional knowledge was still very strong. When she saw the strange scene around her, she suddenly thought of a possibility, so she immediately said to the 2 competitors. Then, she used the underwater communication device and issued orders to the other collectors. "Stop the collection work. Everyone return to the submarine." Ji Shuiyao's words made many people confused. "Vice Principal Ji, why did you suddenly stop the collection work?" Ji Shuiyao's team members asked. "There are too few fish in this area. It's very likely that." Ji Shuiyao wanted to explain, but halfway through her words, a terrifying monster suddenly appeared in her field of vision. She stopped her long-winded analysis and simply pointed behind the 2 of them. "You, look behind you." The 2 team members turned around in shock and were almost scared out of their wits. Megalodon. Chapter 201. The 2 team members also studied marine biology. When they saw the behemoth, they immediately recognized it. The overlord of the ocean that lived 28 million to 1. 5 million years ago actually still exists. At this moment, it appeared in front of the 3 of them. Run. The 2 team members hurriedly swam and fled frantically. There's so few fish here, they must have been preyed on by this megalodon. It should be full and won't attack casually. Calm down, don't panic, lest you become a target. Ji Shuiyao suppressed the fear in her heart and used her knowledge to analyze the situation and said to the 2 team members. However, for people who were scared out of their wits, this kind of persuasion was useless. The 2 of them only had one thought now, and that was to escape. The huge megalodon was originally swimming slowly, but after discovering that a relatively large prey suddenly appeared in its field of vision, it suddenly sped up and swam toward the 2 people. Ji Shuiyao originally stopped moving, but when she saw this scene, she was furious. Although the target of the megalodon was the 2 team members, judging from its swimming trajectory, it was going to hit her. She specialized in marine biology, so she naturally had a deep understanding of the megalodon, the former overlord of the ocean. The average speed of a megalodon shark was about 35 kilometers per hour, but when it was hunting or chasing prey, it would speed up, which was about 50 kilometers per hour. Even if it was a 1.5-ton car, if it hit her at 50 kilometers per hour, she might be killed. The megalodon was about 20 meters long, and its weight was definitely more than 70 tons. A 70-ton object hitting her at 50 kilometers per hour, even a high-rise building, would be overturned. Ji Shuiyao was extremely distressed. An infinite regret rose in her heart. If she had known earlier, she would have listened to Wang Haoran. But it was too late to say anything now. The huge body had already occupied Ji Shuiyao's field of vision. Am I going to die? Ji Shuiyao couldn't help but silently say in her heart, waiting for death. However, before she was hit by the huge body of the megalodon, a fast-swimming figure took Ji Shuiyao away from the megalodon's swimming trajectory. Ji Shuiyao felt a little dizzy from the fast-swimming speed. When she came back to her senses, the huge figure of the megalodon had already swum far away. Ji Shuiyao only felt her waist being held by someone. She tilted her head and saw a companion in a diving suit. Then, she looked through the transparent mask of the diving suit and saw a handsome face. She was completely indifferent to whether a person was beautiful or ugly, but for some reason, she suddenly felt that this person was really good-looking. He was even more good-looking than the rare marine specimens she had collected. Ding! The favorability of the female lead Ji Shuiyao towards the host has increased by 20. Current favorability is 30, very friendly. Ding! The host has influenced the plot. Reward: 500 villain points. Can you still swim? Wang Haoran leaned against Ji Shuiyao. He could clearly feel that Ji Shuiyao was trembling all over. Obviously, she had not completely recovered from the shock just now. Yes, it's a bit difficult. Ji Shuiyao's hoarse voice was passed to Wang Haoran's ears through the communication device. If you don't want to become the excrement of the megalodon, then you have to hold on tight. Wang Haoran reminded her. Ji Shuiyao was scared to death. After hearing this, she grabbed Wang Haoran tightly like an octopus. About half an hour later, the submarine returned to the scientific research ship. All the people who went to collect marine specimens returned safely, including the 2 people who were chased by the megalodon. The reason why they escaped was not that they beat the megalodon, but that after the 2 were swallowed by the megalodon vomited because it ate too much. One of the 2 was lucky to escape, but when they returned to the scientific research ship, the 2 of them were still in a daze. It seemed that they had suffered serious psychological trauma, and no one knew how long it would take for them to recover. However, this was also a blessing in disguise. For the sake of safety, Ji Shuiyao had to give the crew a return order and cancel this collection activity. She felt very uncomfortable making this decision, but creatures like the megalodon were too terrifying. If it attacked the scientific research ship, then everyone on board would be in danger. Although this possibility was not great, it was always right to nip it in the bud. After all, the goddess of luck would not always favor them. I didn't expect the megalodon to still exist in the world. Ji Shuiyao still had some lingering fear. On the side, Wang Haoran's expression was calm. There was a protagonist and 2 female protagonists here, so anything was possible. Not to mention discovering a megalodon. Even if he found a mermaid, he would not be surprised. Did anyone collect anything? Ji Shuiyao asked the collectors around her expectantly. No, me neither. Everyone around shook their heads in response. At that time, everyone had just come out of the submarine, and before they had time to start collecting, Ji Shuiyao gave the order to return to the submarine. When everyone came back, naturally, they came back empty-handed. Hearing the response of the people around her, Ji Shuiyao could not help but sigh. This scientific exploration trip could be considered as returning empty-handed. Once they returned, trouble would definitely come one after another. The cost of a scientific exploration trip was huge. Ji Shuiyao had applied for a large amount of funding from the Research Institute. As long as they could bring back a specimen of an unknown sea creature, they would barely be able to complete the mission. But now that they were empty-handed, they would definitely have to explain to the investors who had funded them when they returned. The key was that the other party might not necessarily understand, even if they explained. In short, it would definitely be troublesome when they returned. I'll collect something on the way. Wang Haoren took out a collector from his body. There was some blood in the transparent collection container in the collector. This was obviously drawn from some kind of marine fish. However, Ji Shuiyao's expression was very calm. The blood from fish is not of much research value, so this is useless. So the blood of the megalodon is worthless. Wang Haoren was very disappointed when he heard this. He only felt that his efforts were in vain, and he immediately grabbed the collector and wanted to throw it into the sea. However, Ji Shuiyao immediately ignored her manners and rushed forward, hugging Wang Haoren and preventing him from throwing the collector. You said this is the blood of the megalodon? Ji Shuiyao's face was filled with disbelief. Yes. Ding. The female lead Ji Shuiyao's favorability towards the host has increased by 10. Current favorability is 40, very friendly. Ding. The host has influenced the direction of the plot. Gained 500 villain points. Chapter 202. Give it to me, give it to me. Ji Shuiyao's voice trembled and her eyes were fanatical. If it was the blood of an ordinary fish, the research value was indeed not great. But if it was the blood of a megalodon, it was completely different. The megalodon was currently recognized as an extinct species in the world, and people's knowledge of this creature was entirely obtained from some fossils. The blood sample of the megalodon in front of him was absolutely unique in the world, and its value could not be measured by money. How did you collect it? Ji Shuiyao was in disbelief. When she heard that Wang Haoren collected a fish blood sample, she didn't think of the megalodon at all, because the megalodon, the overlord of the sea, was too terrifying. Even if they drove a submarine close to it, they had to worry about the submarine being bitten off by the megalodon, not to mention taking its blood. When I saved you, when the megalodon passed by me, I took it. Wang Haoren said lightly. Can you give this megalodon blood sample to us? I will apply for funding from the Research Institute and pay you enough. Ji Shuiyao said excitedly. Take it. Wang Haoren had no use for this thing. Moreover, the reason why he took the megalodon blood sample was to win Ji Shuiyao's favor. Seeing that Wang Haoren had handed it over without hesitation, Ji Shuiyao reached out her trembling hands and took the gatherer. Ding! The female lead Ji Shuiyao's favorability of the host increased by 5. The current total favorability is 45, very friendly. Ding! The host affected the direction of the plot. Gained 200 villain points. After receiving these system prompts, Wang Haoren checked the Charm Aura CD and found that the Charm Aura was currently available. However, after issuing a command to the system quickly responded with a failure. Wang Haoren didn't need to ask to know that this was similar to Qiu Qianwei's situation. If he couldn't make achievements in the field of science that were on par with, or even surpass Ji Shuiyao would definitely not fall in love with him. However, as long as there were enough villain points, it was not difficult to do this. At present, he had 11,000 villain points, which was still very ample. It would take a few days for the research ship to return. When they were only halfway to Qingling Sea area, Wang Haoren received a message from Qiu Qianwei. A week. If not for this, Wang Haoren would have almost forgotten about it. Don't you live with your sixth sister? Every day my sixth sister would discuss scientific issues with her colleagues until late at night. She would only return to the cabin after midnight. Seeing this message, Wang Haoren immediately looked at the time. It was only 9 p.m. There was plenty of time. Wang Haoren left the cabin and was about to look for Qiu Qianwei. However, just as he was about to reach Qiu Qianwei's cabin, he noticed that Lin Shun was holding a laptop. Coincidentally, he went to look for Qiu Qianwei and said something to her. About 8 minutes later, Lin Shun left with a smile on his face. He hid in a secluded spot in the cabin and started typing something on his laptop. What did your brother come to you for? Wang Haoran walked into the cabin and asked Xiao Qianwei. He's not old enough, so he asked me to borrow my identity information. He wants to publish some articles on a website called Global Discovery. Xiao Qianwei replied without reservation. What kind of website is Global Discovery? Wang Haoran asked. This is one of the most authoritative scientific websites in the world today. My six sisters' scientific article was lucky enough to be on the front page of Global Discovery. Your sixth sister is quite capable. She published an article on the front page of Global Discovery, and you call that lucky? Wang Haoran was surprised. You don't know, but those articles that were on the front page of Global Discovery are all from old pedants who are at least 50 years old. After all, my sixth sister is still young. She's only 21 years old. To be able to do this is already super amazing. After hearing this explanation, Wang Haoran was suddenly surprised. A 21-year-old scientist whose article could be on the front page of Global Discovery was super amazing. Then, if the 8-year-old Lin Chun published an article on the front page, wouldn't the whole world be shocked? If he succeeded, he would be able to show off to the whole world. Am I pretty today? Xiao Qianwei deliberately put on makeup today. She wanted to be praised by the person she loved. Pretty. Wang Haoran mumbled a reply. Perfunctory. You don't even look at me. Xiao Qianwei was a little jealous. Wang Haoran immediately looked at her, but he was not in the mood to admire her. Instead, he asked in a serious manner, Do you have a laptop here? This baffling question made Xiao Qianwei stunned for a while. Yes, my six sisters. Hurry up and bring it over. Wang Haoran urged. Is the computer more attractive than me? Xiao Qianwei was a little depressed, but she still went to take Ji Shuyao's laptop. Wang Haoran took the laptop and opened it. He immediately started to operate it. What are you doing? Xiao Qianwei was curious and wanted to see. Play with your phone. Don't disturb me. Wang Haoran did not look at her. He just said that and continued to operate the computer. Ding! The host made the female lead Xiao Qianwei jealous. Gained 200 villain points. After receiving the message, Wang Haoran was stunned for a second, but he quickly focused on the computer. Xiao Qianwei looked at Wang Haoran, who was fully focused on operating the computer. She was completely stunned. He came here just to play with the computer? I'm not as good as a computer. Xiao Qianwei only felt a little frustrated, but she was not willing to admit defeat. She took out her phone and played a soothing piano music. She danced to the rhythm. Xiao Qianwei's dancing level was naturally far from her music level, but it was still very close to the professional level. The way she danced was particularly pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, there was not a single audience. Ding! The host made Xiao Qianwei jealous. Gained 300 villain points. It must be that the dance was too elegant and could not attract him. Change it. Xiao Qianwei changed the song, but the effect was still the same. Ding! The host made Xiao Qianwei jealous. Gained 400 villain points. Is it because I'm not a woman enough? Xiao Qianwei began to doubt herself. She stopped and had a flash of inspiration. She suddenly opened the Do sound to learn. There were many girls in the Do sound. There were many twisting and turning. Xiao Qianwei watched for a while and felt that there was no artistic sense in the dance. It was too vulgar. But vulgar was vulgar. The short video had a lot of likes. It was clear that there were many people who liked to watch it. Since it was popular, there must be a reason for it. Should I learn it? Xiao Qianwei suddenly had this idea. Chapter 203. 20 minutes later, Wang Haoran was finally done. Ding! The host has successfully replaced the verification information, gained 900 villain points. Lin Chun protagonist aura a -45. Host villain aura +45. The account that Lin Chun applied for using the identity of Xiao Qianwei had become Wang Haoran's, but the password was still the same. Any article that Lin Chun used this account to publish on Global Discovery would be under Wang Haoran's identity. So many messages. Wang Haoran checked the system messages that he just received and was shocked. This Xiao Qianwei is jealous of the computer. On the side, Xiao Qianwei practiced for a while and felt that it was about time. And Wang Haoran's attention was not on the computer. Xiao Qianwei saw this and immediately demonstrated the dance that she practiced in this short period of time. After Wang Haoren saw it, he was a bit confused. Qiu Qianwei always gave him the feeling that she was very dignified and elegant, with a noble temperament. But such a dignified and elegant person suddenly danced a somewhat tacky dance. Wang Haoren was a bit stunned. Am I bad at dancing? After seeing Wang Haoren's expression, Qiu Qianwei asked nervously. It's not that bad, but have you forgotten your identity? You are an international pianist. If someone saw you doing such a vulgar dance, wouldn't you be in trouble? Wang Haoren reminded her. I have never danced before. I just learned it from watching Douyin, so I danced in front of you. I thought you would like it. Qiu Qianwei was like a child who made a mistake. I will never do such a tacky dance again. Actually, it's not that I don't like it. It's just that I was shocked by you. Wang Haoren suddenly smiled. Really? Qiu Qianwei smiled. Then I will learn more and dance for you in the future. If you have nothing to do, then learn. But now let's do something serious. Turn off the lights. Wang Haoren happily received 2,000 villain points and 100 aura points. Looking at his status panel, he saw that his villain points had reached 14,800, which was quite generous. Then, he used his X-ray vision to look at Lin Shun, who was hiding and writing. In more than an hour, Lin Shun had already finished writing the scientific thesis article and began to submit it to the Global Discovery website. Wang Haoren could not tell the level of the scientific paper. He could only tell that it was a scientific paper in the field of marine biology. However, since it was a cheat, it was definitely not simple. Wang Haoren had plenty of villainous points, so naturally, he didn't want to fall behind. Although he stole Lin Chen's identity, if he didn't have a solid scientific knowledge, he would be exposed in front of Ji Shuiyao sooner or later. Wang Haoren opened the system shop and began to search for the items he needed. After a minute or two, he finally found it. However, this system item wasn't a direct skill buff, but a template buff. Each template corresponded to a famous scientist in history. To exchange for a scientist template, he needed to spend 1,500 villain points. After the exchange, all the science-related knowledge of this scientist will be directly injected into Wang Haoren's consciousness. Judging from the marine biology thesis, Lin Shun must have exchanged for the template of a famous marine biologist in history. Wang Haoren didn't need to exchange for the same type of template as Lin Shun for the time being. After all, Lin Shun's thesis results would all belong to him. Therefore, he didn't need to do anything unnecessary. Wang Haoren looked at the many scientist templates for a while and finally chose the Fleming template. This was a bacteriologist, biochemist, and microbiologist. He was a great scientist who first discovered penicillin. Later, he improved it with his friends and successfully applied it in medical treatment. This had epoch-making significance because the discovery of penicillin ended the era of infectious diseases that couldn't be treated. In short, this was a great scientist. After exchanging for the Fleming template, Wang Haoren also obtained all the scientific knowledge of this scientist. Wang Haoren directly jumped from a science novice to a top scientist. However, he had the knowledge reserves, but he still lacked the fame. Lin Shun provided a very good method. Publish scientific papers in the world's authoritative scientific journals. Wang Haoren immediately took action. He spent an hour writing a biochemical-oriented paper and published it in Global Discovery. Looking at the time, it was almost 12 o'clock in the middle of the night. Wang Haoren put Ji Shuiyao's computer back in place and then slipped back to his cabin. The next morning, on the deck of the scientific research ship, there was a heated discussion, and the cause was all because of a front-page article in Global Discovery. As a fanatical scientist, Ji Shuiyao paid attention to an authoritative website like Global Discovery almost every day. When she woke up this morning, she saw the article on the front page of the website. She was shocked. So, she immediately informed her scientific research colleagues around her. After her colleagues saw it, they also showed the same emotions as Qiu Qianwei. In today's world, there are not many scientists who have deep research in marine biology. I don't know which one of them wrote this paper. No matter who it is, it must be a foreign author. After all, no one in the country has such deep research in marine biology. Maybe it's not a foreign author. Look at the pen name of the author who published the article. Ling Xiaobao. Isn't that Lin Xiaobao? This pen name doesn't look like it's from abroad. Yeah, I wouldn't have noticed it if you didn't mention it. Everyone was talking about it. Hearing the voices around her, Ji Shuyao's heart also moved, and she took another look at the pen name. She hadn't noticed it before, but after her colleague mentioned it, she immediately realized that this pen name did not seem to be given by a foreigner. The article submitted to Global Discovery, no matter what language it was in, the final form of expression on the website would be uniformly translated into a foreign language. The translation of Lin Xiaobao was more or less Lin Xiaobao. Who the hell is this Lin Xiaobao? Why have I never heard of this person in the field of marine biology? Someone asked curiously. He might not be an old pedant. He might be a new scientific researcher who had a flash of inspiration and exceeded his usual standards. Ji Shuiyao immediately judged. On this point, she had a lot of say because a similar situation had happened to her before. But that was a year ago. In the past year, she had written a lot of articles and submitted them to Global Discovery, but none of them made it to the front page of the website. Hey, there's another front page article. A scientific researcher who was using his computer to follow the content of Global Discovery's website suddenly exclaimed. Chapter 204. Ji Shuiyao was also surprised when she heard her colleague's exclamation. Because on the Global Discovery website, under normal circumstances, only one article would appear on the front page. It was very rare for two articles to appear on the front page. The article written under the pen name Lin Xiaobao was undoubtedly very impressive. As for the other new article that appeared, since it was on the same front page as Lin Xiaobao's article, it definitely wouldn't be bad. Ji Shuiyao's curiosity was piqued, and she immediately went to her colleague's computer to take a look. She quickly discovered that it was a scientific article on biochemistry. Although Ji Shuiyao specialized in marine biology, as a scientist, she also had a certain level of knowledge in other scientific fields. The new article that appeared on the front page was also quite high level. It could be said that it was very rare in the world. And the pen name of the author on the front page was also a bit interesting. Translated, it was Wei Xiaobao. Obviously, it was unlikely that the name was from overseas. Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao. These two similar pen names, was it just a coincidence or was there a connection? At this time, Lin Chun came to the deck lazily. When he saw some of the scientists on the deck, they were gathered around the computers and discussing animatedly, but he got down. Obviously, the article he wrote last night was accepted and appeared on the front page. Sister Lu, why is it so lively? What are you guys doing? Lin Chun pretended to be surprised and asked. Oh, I saw two amazing scientific papers on the front page of the Global Discovery website, Ji Shuiyao said. Two front page articles? Lin Chun was surprised. Yes. Lin Chun also went over to take a look and found that there were two front page articles. One of them was written by him using the pen name Lin Xiaobao, and the other was written by someone else. And that pen name made Lin Chun very surprised. Wei Xiaobao. The reason why he chose the name Lin Xiaobao was actually inspired by Wei Xiaobao. The word Lin naturally came from his surname, and Xiaobao borrowed the name Wei Xiaobao. Because Wei Xiaobao happened to have 7 wives and Lin Chun wanted to marry 7 goddesses as his wives. So on a whim, he chose the pen name Lin Xiaobao. Lin Chun was surprised for a while and immediately checked the article written by the pen name Wei Xiaobao. This author's pen name is so similar. Do they know each other? That's very possible. Otherwise, their pen names wouldn't be the same. The surrounding people were discussing about the pen name. Wang Haoran, who had come over to watch the commotion, heard the voices around him and suddenly said with a smile, that might not be the case. Who knows? It might be the same person. It can't be the same person. Lin Chun immediately denied. Wang Haoran glanced at him and laughed mockingly in his heart, but didn't say anything. Little Chun, why do you think so? Ji Shuiyao asked doubtfully. I was just guessing. Lin Chun did not intend to reveal that he was the author of one of the scientific articles. He wanted to publish an article on global discovery to become famous in the scientific community and make Sister Lu admire him. So far, he had only published one article, which could only be considered as his debut. He was still far from becoming famous. Before he truly became famous, or rather, Before he convinced Sixth Sister, Lin Shun did not intend to reveal too many things. Night. The sea breeze blew gently. Ji Shuiyao carried a stool and sat alone on the deck to read a scientific book. Xiao Qianwei was not feeling well and needed a rest. Wang Haoran was bored in the cabin, so he came to the deck. Ji Shuiyao was focused on the book in her hand and did not notice Wang Haoran's arrival. The moon on the sea is so beautiful. Wang Haoran sighed to himself. Ji Shuiyao, who was completely focused on the book, finally noticed that someone had come. She closed the book slightly, looked up at the bright moon above her head, and said, "The surface of the moon has dark areas and bright areas. The bright areas are the highlands. The dark areas are plains or basins and other low-lying areas. They are called the lunar land and the lunar sea." When the early astronomers observed the moon, they thought that the dark areas were covered by seawater, so they called them seas. The famous ones are the Sea of Clouds, the Sea of Moisture, the Sea of Tranquility, and so on. The brighter part was the mountain range. There were layers upon layers of mountains, and the mountain ranges were crisscrossed. Craters were scattered all over the place, and they were low-lying craters that were ring-shaped. In addition to the craters, there are also ordinary mountain ranges, high mountains, and deep valleys on the moon. It is indeed a different kind of scenery. She said regretfully, "Unfortunately, there are no telescopes on the ship, so we can't appreciate it directly." Wang Haoran found the scene to be a little romantic. He originally wanted to talk about poetry and life philosophy with Ji Shuiyao. However, with Ji Shuiyao's explanation, his mood was immediately ruined. "Are you hungry? Let's make some barbecue." Wang Haoran wanted to change the way he interacted with Ji Shuiyao. Now that they were at sea, the most abundant thing on the sea was seafood. Looking at the moon on the deck, enjoying the sea breeze, and eating barbecue. Just the thought of it made him feel relaxed and comfortable. Eating is just for energy. 3 meals a day is enough. "I never eat extra energy," Ji Shuiyao said. Hearing this, Wang Haoran felt a little depressed. After thinking for a while, he could only say, he said, "Can you lend me a book?" "Of course." Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao happily took a book and handed it to Wang Haoran. Then, Ji Shuiyao focused on reading and ignored Wang Haoran. Reading together was the most harmonious way to get along with Ji Shuiyao. However, there was no interaction at all, and it didn't help the progress of their relationship at all. Wang Haoran took the book and read for a while. He felt very bored, so he looked at Ji Shuiyao. In terms of appearance, figure, temperament, and other hard strength, Ji Shuiyao really had nothing to be picky about. However, she really didn't dress up at all. In fact, she was very casual, so casual that she didn't seem like a normal woman. For example, her thick black hair was casually tied behind her head and looked a little messy. Although it didn't affect Ji Shuiyao's appearance, couldn't she comb her hair a little? "Miss Ji, don't you have a comb in your cabin?" Wang Haoran was a little obsessive-compulsive, so he couldn't help but ask. "Yes," Ji Shuiyao said. "Then why don't you comb your hair?" "Is it strange that I don't comb my hair?" Ji Shuiyao asked. "Isn't it strange?" Wang Haoran was confused. In terms of natural behavior, females dress up because they have a tendency to seek a mate. For example, peacocks open their beautiful feather fans, ducks comb their feathers with their beaks after swimming, and insects dance or make beautiful sounds. Ji Shuiyao's expression was serious. "As for me, I don't have this tendency, so I don't deliberately dress up." "What's strange about that? Humans and animals are different, right?" Wang Haoran retorted. "In essence, there's no difference," Ji Shuiyao said seriously. "Continue reading. I'm feeling a little unwell, so I'm going to rest." Wang Haoran found an excuse and ran away. He came to find Ji Shuiyao with the intention of flirting with her, but after talking for a while, he felt defeated by Ji Shuiyao. This Ji Shuiyao was completely a straight woman of steel. He couldn't flirt with her at all. Chapter 205. After the chat under the moon, Wang Haoran did not look for Ji Shuiyao for a private chat on his way back. Instead, he spent his time on some scientific papers. In the following 2 days, Wang Haoran published 9 more biochemical papers on global discovery. 9 papers appeared on the front page of the website, one after another. Lin Chen's side did not fall behind. Ji Shuiyao and her colleagues paid close attention to the papers on global discovery. In just 2 short days, Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao had each published 10 stunning scientific papers. Because of these 10 papers, the two of them were crowned gods in their respective fields of science. The entire scientific community was shaken. Many of the higher-ups in the scientific research institutes wanted to get specific information about the two who published the papers and invited them to come to the institute to give scientific lectures. The research institute that Ji Shuiyao was in was no exception. But judging from the strength of the research institute, Ji Shuiyao's research institute was not particularly top-notch, and the lecture fee was not too high. Therefore, Ji Shuiyao did not have much hope. She put all her energy into the work of studying the blood of the megalodon shark. However, one day after she devoted herself to her research, which was the day of the Chinese Valentine's Day in the Yin country, Lin Xiaobao published a front-page article on global discovery. When the front-page article came out, the entire scientific community was so shocked that their eyeballs almost fell out. Because this front-page article was not about a scientific topic, but an emotional speech about why he had achieved what he had. However, this speech was also a confession in disguise. And the target of the confession was the world's youngest female scientist, Ji Shuiyao. The world's most authoritative scientific website, a confession article suddenly appeared. The style of the article did not seem right. At first, everyone thought that the website had made a mistake. But soon the Global Discovery official website made an announcement, indicating that it was not a mistake. This confession was indeed written by Lin Xiaobao. Because of the scientific papers that Lin Xiaobao had published recently, his status in the scientific community had also risen. Many scientists had recognized Lin Xiaobao's level and gave him the title of the top scientist in marine biology. The Global Discovery official made an exception for Lin Xiaobao. Moreover, the content of Lin Xiaobao's confession was especially dramatic, because the meaning of Lin Xiaobao's words could be summarized in this way. A fan fell in love with her idol, so she worked hard day and night to get close to her idol. However, she accidentally surpassed her idol. However, this fan actually didn't like marine biology. He didn't feel happy at all when he received these scientific honors. His only wish was to marry his idol as his wife. If I can't fulfill this wish, I might not be able to focus on marine biology for the rest of my life. With this exclamation, all eyes in the scientific community were on Ji Shuiyao. Everyone wanted to know what Ji Shuiyao was thinking. At Ji Shuiyao's workplace, her colleagues were discussing this matter in full swing. Vice Principal Ji, who is this Lin Xiaobao? Someone asked curiously. I want to know too. Ji Shuiyao was at a loss. She was in a trance now. Because of the scientific papers that Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao published at the Global Discovery Conference, Ji Shuiyao became their fan. She regarded Lin Xiaobao as her idol and was determined to be on the same level as her idol. When she saw Lin Xiaobao's confession, Ji Shuiyao was completely dumbfounded. The person that she regarded as her idol was actually her fan. This reversal was too shocking. Moreover, what made her feel even more overwhelmed was that her idol actually loved her deeply. It wasn't that Ji Shuiyao had never been confessed before. In the past, when she faced those confessions, her heart didn't waver at all. She directly rejected them. She only wanted to focus on science and didn't want other things to disturb her. However, when faced with this confession, her heart was in a mess. Vice Principal Ji, are you going to agree that she's his wife or not? Someone asked Ji Shuiyao. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao wanted to say that she needed to interact with him and see what kind of person he was and what age he was before she considered this question. However, she was too embarrassed to say this, so she said reservedly, I only want to focus on scientific research and don't want other things to disturb me. He already said that if he doesn't marry Vice Principal Ji, he won't have the heart to study marine biology. For the sake of science, Vice Principal Ji, you should sacrifice yourself. That's right, Vice Principal G. If you don't agree, you will become a sinner of the scientific community. Vice Principal G, hurry up and contact the Global Discovery Authority. You should also make a statement, lest they wait too long and directly withdraw from the scientific community. The people around her started to jeer one after another. Stop chattering, all of you, get back to work. Ji Shuiyao's face was flushed red from the scolding, and she said in embarrassment. Only then did the people around her stop talking and return to their posts. Ji Shuiyao suppressed the fluctuation in her heart and wanted to focus on her work. However, at this moment, Lin Shun suddenly called. Sixth sister, I saw news on the internet that you were confessed to. What are you thinking? Why don't you become Lin Xiaobao's wife? Lin Chen asked happily. Why are you making such a fuss? Ji Shuiyao said. How can this be called making a fuss? I might have a brother-in-law soon. Of course I have the right to know. Lin Chen wanted to find out Ji Shuiyao's inner thoughts so that he could take the next step. You think too much. I don't plan on getting married, Ji Shuiyao replied. However, as soon as the words left her mouth, she suddenly added, at least before I'm 30 years old, I won't get married. When Lin Chun heard this, he immediately knew what was going on. His sixth sister used to insist that she would never get married in this lifetime. Now that she changed her mind, it was obvious that she had fallen in love with someone. There were already signs. As long as he continued to perform in the field of science, he would definitely be able to conquer his sixth sister's heart. Lin Chun ended the conversation. He went in front of the computer and started typing on the keyboard. He was ready to write a higher-level scientific paper and post it on the Global Discovery website. 8 hours later, a scientific paper of a higher level was published. Previously, his scientific papers only took 1 or 2 hours, but that was enough to shock the scientific community. Now that he was going to perfect it, of course, the standard would be even better. As long as he posted it on the Global Discovery website, it would definitely cause an unparalleled sensation. Chapter 206. Now that the thesis was written, the next step was to publish it. However, Lin Chen clicked on the Global Discovery website. Before he could log in, he was attracted by a scientific thesis that occupied the front page of the website. The author of this thesis was Wei Xiaobao. Lin Chen was quite resentful towards this author, because if it wasn't for Wei Xiaobao, he would be in the limelight in the scientific community these days. After secretly complaining for a while, Lin Chen looked at the article on the front page of the website again. He had made an agreement with the website to let his confession stay on the front page for at least 3 days. But now, the website went back on their word and directly took down his confession. They also showed Wei Xiaobao's new scientific thesis in full. This made him very unhappy. With this emotion, Lin Chen glanced at the scientific thesis. He wanted to see what kind of tricks Wei Xiaobao had come up with to make the website go back on their word and take down his confession article. 10 minutes later, he finished reading the entire scientific thesis. The displeasure on Lin Chen's face was gradually replaced by shock. Although he only exchanged for the marine biology scientist template, he obtained knowledge in other scientific fields in this template. It was just that it was not as prominent. He could see the level of Wei Xiaobao's scientific thesis. Strong, really strong. The level was definitely not below the level of the new scientific thesis he wrote. There was no doubt that the scientific community would soon be shocked by Wei Xiaobao's scientific thesis. These days, Lin Chun and Wei Xiaobao were serious. Now that Wei Xiaobao was about to be in the limelight again, he naturally did not want to fall behind. He clicked on the login interface and prepared to log in to the website to upload his new thesis. He entered the account password and clicked login. Prompt: the account or password is wrong. Lin Chen thought that it was just a mistake and entered it again. However, it was still wrong. He was a little annoyed and continued to operate. However, after repeating this 5 or 6 times, he still could not log in. Bang! Lin Chen thought that his account was hacked, so he used his small hand to hit the keyboard to vent his anger. He immediately entered the website's appeal interface and used Qiu Qianwei's identity information to apply for a password reset. After the application was sent, there was a reply in less than 10 minutes. The website did not have Qiu Qianwei's identity information. Lin Chen did not believe it at the time. He thought that there was a problem with the customer service, so the relevant information was not found. He continued to apply. However, it was quickly rejected. He did not give up and continued to apply. He was still rejected. After repeating this several times, Lin Chen's IP was blacklisted. He couldn't even enter the website, let alone contact customer service. What stupid customer service? Wait until I get in touch with the higher-ups of your website. I'll definitely fire you. Lin Chen thought angrily. He was now in high demand in the scientific community. The top executives of the Global Discovery website all gave him face. Otherwise, they wouldn't have made an exception to let him give that speech. A customer service employee actually dared to be disrespectful to him. He was simply courting death. Lin Chen was furious. He went to the internet cafe in the middle of the night, changed his IP, and clicked on the Global Discovery website again. He was prepared to find another customer service to solve the problem. However, before he could do anything, he was stunned by the announcement on the website. The content of the announcement was that Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao were the same person. At the request of the author himself, all the papers under the two pseudonyms would be merged into one under the pen name Wei Xiaobao. Lin Chen almost went crazy on the spot. It wasn't as simple as having his password changed. His account had been hacked, and the results had been taken by someone else. Ding! The host has successfully transferred the main character Lin Chen's results to his own name and stopped the main character Lin Chen from showing off. Received 1,000 villain points. Lin Chen protagonist aura -50. Host villain aura +50. What are you so happy about? In a mountaintop villa, Qiu Qianwei saw Wang Haoren's expression when she walked out of the shower. She couldn't help but laugh. I remember that you're going to dance for me soon. Of course, I'm happy. Wang Haoren obviously wouldn't tell the truth. He immediately lied. You want to see me dance? All right then, I'll go change. Qiu Qianwei wrapped herself in a bath towel and prepared to look for clothes. That's fine. It's pretty good. Can't I? Of course not. I'll do as you say. In the research institute, Ji Shuiyao was in the laboratory, focused on her research. Vice Principal Ji, a female researcher barged into the laboratory, screaming and yelling. Noise is prohibited in the laboratory. Is this your first day here? Ji Shuiyao was disturbed and couldn't help but scold her with a straight face. Vice Principal Ji, something big has happened. Look, the female researcher took out her phone and opened the Global Discovery website. She clicked on the website announcement. Ji Shuiyao looked at it suspiciously. Then she was shocked. Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao are the same person. In the past few days, the two pseudonyms, Lin Xiaobao and Wei Xiaobao, had published scientific papers on the Global Discovery website and shocked the scientific community. However, the two's research directions were different. Although the pseudonyms were similar, everyone didn't treat them as the same person. They only treated them as two different people. However, now that the official website had merged the works of the two pseudonyms together, it was obvious that the two pseudonyms belonged to the same person. It wasn't that there weren't scientists who studied two fields of science at the same time, but it was very rare for them to shine so brilliantly in two fields at the same time. This kind of person, if placed in the history books, would be a shining existence. In the future, they would be recorded in the annals of science forever. Comparisons were odious. Ji Shuiyao felt that she could already be considered a genius. But compared to Wei Xiaobao, she really paled in comparison. While Ji Shuiyao was in a daze, some colleagues from the Research Institute came over. A new round of uproar began again. This time, Ji Shuiyao didn't stop the discussion. She was still in shock. After an unknown period of time, an elegant 80-year-old man wearing glasses rushed into the laboratory excitedly with a walking stick. His face was glowing with health, and he was holding onto a walking stick. Respectful greetings of "Hello, Vice Principal." Only then did Ji Shuiyao recover from her shock. She hurried over to help the scholarly old man. "Teacher, please slow down," Ji Shuiyao reminded him. Then, she asked curiously, "Teacher, why are you here all of a sudden?" The vice principal was old and didn't interfere much with the Research Institute's affairs. If it wasn't something important, he wouldn't come to the institute. "You've heard, right? The old man's face was full of excitement. Chapter 207. I had no choice but to hear it. Ji Shuiyao glanced at her colleagues around her and smiled bitterly. The headmaster said impatiently, "Since you already know, why don't you give us a response?" What kind of response? Ji Shuiyao's heart was already stirring, but as a girl, she still pretended to be ignorant. What kind of response could it be? Of course it's a response to that confession. Ji Shuiyao maintained her composure and said, "This is too sudden and I need some time to think about it." What's there to think about? If you continue to hesitate, he might be snatched away by someone else. The headmaster jabbed at the floor with his walking stick in exasperation and reprimanded. That Wei Xiaobao is now a highly sought-after figure in the scientific world. Many foreign research institutes have their eyes on him, hoping to recruit him into their research institutes. Once that happens, it will be a great loss to the Yin country's scientific community. Now that you have such a great opportunity before you, why don't you hurry up and take down Wei Xiaobao? What are you waiting for? Do you want to become a sinner of the Yin country's scientific community? Ji Shuiyao had not thought much about it before, and after being reminded by the headmaster, she immediately understood the severity of the situation. She immediately asked, "Teacher, I have made my decision, but how do I contact the other party?" "I have already taken care of that for you." The headmaster handed Ji Shuiyao a small slip of paper and said, "I got this from a friend who works at the Global Discovery website. This is the email address that Wei Xiaobao needs to fill in when he enters his identity." Ji Shuiyao's face was slightly red as she accepted the slip of paper with the email address written on it. After that, she left the laboratory under everyone's hoots. She went to the lounge and turned on the computer, composing an email and sending it to Wei Xiaobao. The content of the email was, "Would like to arrange a meeting with Wei Xiaobao." The rest of the time was to wait. While waiting, Ji Shuiyao picked up a book and started reading. But every 5 minutes or so, she would check her email to see if there was a reply. Being so distracted, Ji Shuiyao couldn't even focus on the book. Ji Shuiyao decided not to read and just sat in front of the computer and waited. He repeatedly refreshed his mailbox. After about 2 hours, he finally received a reply. Wei Xiaobao agreed to meet. The meeting place was a coffee shop in Qingling. Ji Shuiyao was overjoyed. She was so excited that she couldn't fall asleep. On the other side, after Wang Haoren replied to Ji Shuiyao's message, he contacted the Global Discovery website. He also wrote a statement and requested the website to make an announcement the next day. The statement meant that Lin Xiaobao's confession was made by someone who stole his account and had nothing to do with him. This was Lin Chen's trick. It was simply too low. Wang Haoren did not want to use it. Naturally, he wanted to clear his name. Wei Xiaobao was now a big shot in the scientific community. The Global Discovery website naturally agreed to this request without any hesitation. The next morning, in a certain cafe, Ji Shuiyao sat at a booth in the coffee shop and waited. Today, she had specially put on beautiful makeup, and her hair accessories were also carefully styled. She was wearing a black chiffon dress, and she looked intelligent and beautiful. In the coffee shop, from time to time, there would be men who couldn't control themselves and frequently looked at her with admiration. Some people who were careless and only looked at the beauty without looking at the road directly bumped into the wall, causing quite a commotion. One could imagine how charming Ji Shuiyao was. Ji Shuiyao had never tried this kind of outfit before, and she didn't have the mood to take care of it. Today's outfit was matched by a few female colleagues. Her makeup was also done by a professional makeup artist. On the table in front of Ji Shuiyao, there was a glass cup with a bright rose in it. This was an agreement between Ji Shuiyao and the other party. The rose was a secret code to identify them. At this moment, it was almost the time of the appointment. She was very nervous. After the dean said that Ji Shuiyao was put on the stage and couldn't get out. Today, she had to accept Wei Xiaobao's confession. But for her, this wasn't something that was too hard to accept. After all, Ji Shuiyao saw him as her idol. Being together with her idol should be a happy thing. But she still hoped that the other party wasn't too old. If possible, it would be even better if he was good-looking. Although she didn't care about beauty or ugliness. From the perspective of genetics, she still had to consider her descendants. Miss G. Just as Ji Shuiyao's thoughts were running wild, a familiar voice came from the side. She turned around and saw the face of the person who spoke. She was slightly stunned. "Why are you here? Miss G is so beautiful today. I almost couldn't recognize you." Wang Haoren smiled. Ji Shuiyao said apologetically, "I have something important to do today. I really don't have time to chat. I'll treat you to coffee later. Can you leave for a while?" She was afraid that Wei Xiaobao would come and see her chatting with a man and leave in a fit of anger. She had no choice but to speak to Wang Haoren. "You want me to leave for a while?" Wang Haoren was a little stunned. Ji Shuiyao said, "Sorry, I really have something important to do." "Miss Ji, do you have an appointment?" Wang Haoren wasn't anxious and deliberately teased this rigid and serious person. No. Ji Shuiyao was too embarrassed to tell the truth, so she lied. "You're in the mood to drink coffee alone?" "Yes. I remember Miss Ji said that females dress up because they have a tendency to seek a mate. Miss Ji is so beautiful today. You must have an appointment, and it's a member of the opposite sex. Am I right?" Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao only felt that she was ridiculed. This made her a little embarrassed and angry, so she retorted, I'm a woman, a normal and mature 21-year-old woman. It's completely normal for me to have the tendency to seek a mate. What's wrong with that?" "Nothing's wrong." Very good, very good." Wang Haoren heard this and couldn't help but laugh. With Ji Shuiyao's setting as the female lead, it wasn't easy for her to say this. Ji Shuiyao begged again, "Then can you leave for a while? If I leave, who will go on a date with you?" Saying this, Wang Haoren took out the rose from his pocket and placed it in the glass on the table. You. Ji Shuiyao was so shocked that she couldn't say a complete sentence. Wang Haoren wasn't in a hurry. He sat down in front of Ji Shuiyao and called the waiter to order a cup of coffee. After a long while, Ji Shuiyao recovered her ability to speak. She said in disbelief, "Why is it you?" Chapter 208. Why can't it be me? Wang Haoren asked back, "Answer some of my questions." Ji Shuiyao still didn't believe him, so she wanted to verify it. "Please ask, what kind of algae are there?" Algae can be divided into seawater algae and freshwater algae. Strictly speaking, it can be divided into 8 phyla: Cyanobacteria, Chrysophyta, Diatom, Dinophyta, Euglenophyta, Chlorophyta, Rhodophyta, and Fucophyta. Wang Haoren said slowly, "This is nothing. If you study hard, it's not strange to know this." Ji Shuiyao thought for a while and asked a much more difficult question. "When did the algae appear?" Wang Haoren answered instantly. "About 4 to 5 billion years ago, the earth was pure. Thunder and lightning roared everywhere. Storms raged and waves surged. There was no oxygen, no life, only death and desolation. The world went on like this for more than 1 billion years. It wasn't until the ancient times, about 3-5 billion years ago, that cyanobacteria appeared on the earth. There was chlorophyll in cyanobacteria, which could produce oxygen through photosynthesis. The birth of oxygen brought dawn and hope to the earth. As time went by, more and more oxygen accumulated in the atmosphere. It wasn't until the aurora period about 1.8 billion to 600 million years ago that the earth completely became a world of algae. In addition to cyanobacteria, there were also green algae, brown algae, and other large algae appeared. You know, quite a lot. Ji Shuiyao was surprised and prepared to directly upgrade to Hell mode. "Answer one more question. If you can answer it this time, I'll believe you." After taking a sip of coffee, Wang Haoren said slowly, "Please ask." Ji Shuiyao searched her mind and quickly thought of a question. So she said, "In my current research project, there's an experiment on microbial degradation of polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. If it were you, how would you conduct this experiment?" For this experiment, Ji Shuiyao didn't have a specific idea yet. This question was the existence of a touchstone. Whether it was real or fake, she would know after a try. You can use a microorganism of the genus Bacillus pallidum as the research object. The name is Acrobactrum p. BAP5. Wang Haoren explained unhurriedly. The reagents involved in the experimental study of the degradation of polycyclic aromatic ash by the marine microorganism Acrobacillus p. BAP5 are standard protein marker, bovine serum protein, 5 mg per milliliter, 0.01 m phosphate buffer, PBS, 0.8 g in ACL, 0.27 GKH, 2PO, 4.1. 42 G in A2HPO 40, 2 GKH 2PO 40, 2 GKH 2PO 4, 800 GKH 2PO 4 was added to the buffer, and the pH was adjusted to 7. Use a blender to stir for 30 minutes. After stirring evenly, add 50 milliliters of 86% with H***04 and water to a volume of 100 milliliters. Next, use a double-layer filter paper to filter and wait for use. The instruments used in the experiment are JSM 6360 LA black filament scanning electron microscope, solid phase microextraction device with handle and 85 extraction head. The specific method of the experiment is to observe the shape of the strain first. When observing the shape of the strain, line the 2216E plate, purify the single strain, observe the shape of the bacterial colony, and apply gram staining to the strain. First of all, observe the degradation efficiency of the strain BAP5 on single polycyclic aromatic ash in the experiment. The strain is preserved in glycerin under low-temperature conditions, and then activated and multiplied with the 2216E medium. 1% of the inoculated amount is added to MSM containing BAP, PYR, flu. The long speech was only half done, and it was far from over. But just half of it was already enough to make Ji Shuiyao stunned. Ding, the host has successfully created the identity of a top scientist. Ding, the female lead Ji Shuiyao's favorability toward the host is increased by 20. The current total favorability is 60, admiration. Ding, the host has influenced the direction of the plot, gained 1,500 villain points. Lin Shun, protagonist, aura -75. The host villain, aura +75. Before coming to CG Shuiyao, Wang Haoren spent another 1,500 villain points to exchange for a historical scientist template that specialized in marine biology just to be on the safe side. If not, he wouldn't be able to answer Ji Shuiyao's marine biology questions so fluently. Although he spent 1,500 villain points, the identity of top scientist was successfully created, and it also made Ji Shuiyao's favorability towards him increase greatly. It directly increased by 1,500 villain points and raised the favorability to 60. Wang Haoren immediately communicated with the system and used the charm aura on Ji Shuiyao. Ding! Charm aura has been successfully used. The female lead, Ji Shuiyao's favorability towards the host is increased by 10. The current total favorability is 70. Undying love. Ding, the host has greatly influenced the direction of the plot, gained 1,700 villain points. Another large sum of money came into his account. On the other side, Ji Shuiyao was still in a state of shock and speechlessness. Wang Haoren smiled and asked, "I've finished the marine biology questions. Do you want to ask biochemistry questions?" Hearing the question, Ji Shuiyao finally regained her senses. "No, there's no need. Since there are no more questions, then we should be able to have a good talk, right?" Wang Haoren spoke again. After Ji Shuiyao learned of Wang Haoren's other identity, she was obviously more cautious and did not dare to look directly at him. However, she still mustered up the courage and asked Wang Haoren, "The confession on the Global Discovery website, are you serious?" Hearing this, Wang Haoren subconsciously looked at the time. He knew that the website should be in place, so he pretended to be shocked. "Didn't you pay attention to the Global Discovery website announcement?" "Website announcement?" Ji Shuiyao's eyes were a little confused, and she couldn't help but open the website announcement with her mobile phone. Ji Shuiyao had also seen the contents of Wei Xiaobao's statement, explaining his previous confession. Ji Shuiyao was suddenly embarrassed and ashamed. She just wanted to find a hole to hide in and never come out. Amidst this shame, She also felt a deep sense of loss and regret. Ji Shuiyao had a glimmer of hope in her heart, and she asked, "If this is the case, why did you come out to meet me?" Wang Haoran explained, "I just don't want others to use my identity to deceive you. This will not only harm you, but it will also damage my reputation." The glimmer of hope in Ji Shuiyao's heart was directly shattered. She only felt a tightness in her chest and a little difficulty in breathing. "Thank you for your kindness." Wang Haoran took a sip of coffee and responded with a smile. "This is what I should do." Ji Shuiyao tried to calm the disappointment in her heart and said, "The paper you published on the Global Discovery website is really amazing. On behalf of my research institute, I want to invite you to give an academic lecture. Is that okay?" "I'm afraid that's not possible. I published the paper on the Global Discovery website purely on a whim. I didn't want to be famous." Wang Haoran declined and then said, "Also, I don't want to be disturbed by other people in the scientific community, so I hope you can keep this matter secret." Ji Shuiyao didn't want to force it, so she nodded and agreed. Of course. After giving such an attitude, she still couldn't suppress the admiration in her heart, so she said, "I want to ask you some academic questions. Do you have time tomorrow?" Chapter 209. Of course, Wang Haoran wouldn't agree so easily. He thought for a moment and said, "I'm going to PJ Island for a vacation tomorrow." PJ Island was a world-famous tropical tourist spot. It was a good place for vacation. Hearing this, Ji Shuiyao hurriedly asked, "How long will you be there?" Wang Haoran shrugged and said, "I don't know. It depends on my mood." Ji Shuiyao lowered her head and thought for a few seconds. Then she looked up and said with a smile, "What a coincidence. I was just about to study the marine environment there. Why don't we go together?" This, Wang Haoran's face was full of hesitation. "Don't worry, I won't disturb your vacation. Please take me with you. I beg you." Ji Shuiyao, who was usually stiff and serious, showed a rare coquettish look. "Okay then." Wang Haoran reluctantly agreed. He was secretly happy. The two of them went abroad for a vacation. There were too many opportunities for them to spend time together. With such a good opportunity, he would be a villain if he didn't take it. At the same time, in Chopin's hometown, BL, Bufian checked the hotel where she stayed for the Glory Art Festival and finally found out who this scumbag was. She left the hotel and was about to return to the Fire Country to find that scumbag. But on the way to the airport, she was careless and was dropped off by a taxi driver on a mountain road in the suburbs. An international assassin team, who had been lying in ambush, immediately attacked Bufian. Bufian was no match for them. She retreated and hid in a cave. With the terrain of the cave, Bufian's life was not in danger. But there were people guarding outside the cave. Inside the cave was a dead end. There was no food or water. Facing such a desperate situation, Bufian's heart was sad, but she did not give up. She planned to rest for a while and then fight to the death. Even if she died, she would drag a few of them down with her. Outside the cave. If we can kill the #1 assassin on the female assassin ranking, the female magistrate, our Scorpion assassin group might jump from the 4th place to the 3rd place on the assassin ranking. That female magistrate is so beautiful. Wouldn't it be a waste to just kill her? The taste of being the #1 female assassin must be very wonderful. I must savor it. Everyone is thinking the same thing. Let's line up. Captain first. A group of men stood guard at the entrance of the cave. They had evil smiles on their faces as they started to talk. However, the captain of the Scorpion assassin group didn't join the discussion. Instead, he was looking at some photos. These photos were given to her by her employer. The photos were of 2 men who had been killed. The 2 men were the ones who were killed by Bufian in the alley a few days ago. The 2 of them were the leader and deputy leader of a gang. After the 2 of them died, the few people with the highest reputation in the gang fought for the position of leader. After some discussion, everyone agreed that whoever could avenge the previous leader first would be able to take the position of the new leader. The few people who were vying for the position started investigating one after another. They found out that it was the female judge, the #1 assassin, who did it. After receiving this news, several people who were vying for positions started to take action one after another. The Scorpion assassin group was hired by one of the contenders for the position at a cost of 300 million. Their purpose was to kill Buffian. Now, their mission was about to be completed, and they were about to get to 300 million. However, the captain of the Scorpion Assassin Group was from Yin country, and he was very cautious. While waiting for the prey, he picked up the information given by his employer and read it again. In these photos, one of the dead men's wooden barns caught his attention. He saw that a fine tile was deeply embedded in the broken wooden barns. From the depth of the tile, one could imagine how terrible the force of the tile was. The captain of the Scorpion Assassin Group also practiced internal strength and was an expert in this field. According to his estimation, the tile should have been shot out with a snap of the fingers. To cause such a destructive force, it would take at least 40 or even 50 years of internal strength. From the fight with the female magistrate just now, he could tell that the female magistrate's internal strength was about 18 years. Obviously, the tile was not shot out by the female magistrate. One of the dead men in the photos had his heart on the right side. There were 2 wounds on his body, one on the left side of his chest and the other on his neck. With the female magistrate's skills, there was absolutely no need for her to kill a person with 2 moves. So, it was obvious that the man was not killed by the first strike. He took out his weapon and wanted to kill the female magistrate. However, at that time, a peerless master was present and knocked away his weapon. Only then did the female magistrate have the chance to kill him a second time. Thinking of this, Scorpion Assassin's face suddenly became gloomy. In his opinion, the peerless master who helped the female magistrate must have a very close relationship with the female magistrate. Otherwise, why would he appear coincidentally and save the female magistrate? The female magistrate was now a turtle in a jar. It was not too difficult to kill her. At most, he would lose some of his companions. However, after killing her, he would definitely incur the wrath of the peerless master. A peerless master with 50 years of internal strength could almost be described as a Superman on the land. Ordinary firearms could not deal with him. If he had known that there was such a peerless master behind the female magistrate, he would never have gotten involved in this muddy water. Fortunately, when he fought with the female magistrate, both of them were not injured. There was still room to maneuver. "Captain, let's kill our way into the cave and take down the female magistrate. Then, we will let you have a taste of her first." Someone in the assassin group was impatient and suggested, "Try your mother." The captain directly slapped him in the face, making the little brother dizzy. The surrounding team members were a little confused at the situation. "Female magistrate, what happened just now was a misunderstanding. Please don't take it to heart. Please come out." The captain shouted at the cave. "You want to fool me with such a small trick? Stop dreaming." Buffian's angry and disdainful voice came from a cave. "We got the wrong target. Now, we sincerely want to apologize to you." The captain was very serious. "Apologize, is it? Then hurry up and kowtow to me 3 times. "Okay." The captain directly agreed and said to the surrounding team members, "All of you, kneel down and kowtow to me." The captain took the lead, and more than a dozen people all knelt outside the cave and kowtowed. Buffian was hiding in the dark of the cave and could see the scene outside the cave. When she saw this strange scene, she could not help but be stunned.